Chapter 1566. Windsor felt as if she had just returned to the time when she graduated from high school. This feeling of looking forward to the future made her blood boil. "I'm really, really happy." Windsor took out her computer and started to draw on it. Number 9 sat beside her and watched her control the drawing board to design her own clothes. He felt a bit weird. He crossed his arms and watched Windsor draw one after another clothes. Some were weird, some were awkward. Anyway, it was a bit unpleasant to look at. Could these really work? Number 9 also didn't understand why he inexplicably cooperated with this blonde girl. But he was bored to death. Just treat it as finding some fun for himself. Being a hero might be a bit interesting. Done. Windsor finally finished her work. It's perfect. Come and take a look. Number 9 leaned over and saw a black and red combat suit with a red cloak on it. There was a big 9 on the chest. How is it? Windsor looked at number 9 excitedly as if she was showing off her work. The others are passable. But why is there a cloak? Number 9 asked. This kind of thing will only get in the way if you wear it. This is the symbol of a hero. Windsor said without hesitation. A great hero must have a red cloak. This is glory and also power. Nonsense. Number 9 curled her lips. She didn't believe Windsor's words. A symbol of a hero? For a powerful person, the only symbol is invincible power. Windsor would never understand how terrifying her power is. What hero she became was just a spur of the moment. Humph, that's right, it's just a spur of the moment. Number 9 stayed with Windsor for a day. The next morning, Windsor went out and then came back excitedly. As long as you pay them, these people are very efficient. Look, this is your uniform. Windsor opened the set of clothes she designed and showed it to number 9. I don't like it. It has a feeling of grandstanding. Believe me, after you show your strength and justice, countless people will like this set of clothes. Windsor gave number 9 a smile. I promise. Number 9 didn't say anything more. Windsor bought breakfast for number 9, then asked him to put on the combat suit and went out with her. Where are we going? Sitting in Windsor's truck, number 9 couldn't help but ask. Let's walk around and see if there's anything we can help with. Windsor said while driving. I remember you are a reporter. Can you not go to work? Number 9 asked. I asked for leave, and the script has already been sent out. Windsor said helplessly, the Lester clan has blocked all the news, and my report has also been suppressed. But it doesn't matter, as long as you're on stage, no one will be afraid of those guys anymore. As long as I make a move, I can destroy them. Number 9 did not put the Lester clan in his eyes at all. To him, these people were nothing more than ants. If you want to catch them, then catch them in the act. Windsor was very insistent on this point. If we attack them casually, what's the difference between us and the scumbags of the Lester family? Killing people casually makes you scum? Number 9 suddenly asked. Yes, every life deserves to be respected. Casually taking other people's life is scum. That's it. Number 9 didn't say much, nor did she express any opinion. She maintained a non-committal attitude. Life deserves to be respected, but is the life of an ant worthy of respect? But this sentence, if it was said to the blonde girl, she probably wouldn't understand. After all, she herself was just an ant. He was just playing with her, just like a human playing with a pet. Hey, buddy, are you participating in a cosplay? While waiting for the red light, a car stopped next to them. Several teenagers inside laughed at the clothes on number 9's body. Ants. Number 9 was too lazy to care about them. Bastards. Go home and lick your mother. The blonde girl was not polite at all and gave them the middle finger. Those teenagers laughed even louder. When the green light changed, they stepped on the gas and sped away. Ignore them, it's because of these guys that evil breeds. The blonde girl immediately complained, especially that guy in the back. He looks like he's 14 or 15 years old, but is actually smoking marijuana. These people are too depraved. Do you want to protect these kinds of people? Number 9 continued to ask. If it's a hero, I will protect them. The blonde girl nodded. Although they are wrong, it's just a small evil, not a big one. A person's evil should be judged by the law. Even a hero can't be above the law. I think our USA's law is already very sound. The law respects everyone's life. I think a hero should also be like this. Following the rules and regulations, this hero is really sullen. Number 9 sneered twice. Such a hero, what's the point? Why don't you try it first? Windsor continued to guide number 9. She felt that number 9 has infinite potential and infinite brilliance, but he hasn't discovered it yet. Number 9 didn't speak, just looking out of the window. It was very quiet the whole morning. Since number 9 destroyed the Lester family and the drug lord cowboys last night, the city of Tell became somewhat peaceful. It was so peaceful that Windsor couldn't believe it. This was the city she usually lived in. Just when Windsor was about to find a place to eat lunch, thick smoke suddenly billowed and the surrounding alarm rang. There's a situation. Let's go and see. Windsor was like a beast that smelled blood. She immediately stepped on the accelerator and rushed toward the place where the smoke came out. When she got closer, she found out that it was an apartment building that was on fire. The fire was really not small. The entire 10th floor became a sea of fire, and the fire continued to spread upward. There was a lot of crying upstairs, and it was a mess downstairs. Many fire engines, police cars, and ambulances were there, busy with the emergency rescue. But the fire on the 10th floor was too strong. If the fire didn't reduce, the ladder of the fire engine couldn't go up. These damn people, they actually turned the 10th floor into a warehouse. A bystander muttered, with such a fire, I'm afraid it will be difficult to reduce in a short time. Save my child. Mom. I'm going to save my mom. A lot of people downstairs were also crying non-stop. Relying on her reporter identity, Windsor found out that there were at least 3 people on the 10th floor who didn't escape in time. Number 9, my hero, the rest depends on you. Windsor's eyes fell on number 9. Chapter 1567. What do I need to do? Number 9 showed a confused expression. Save them. Windsor was a little anxious. She pointed at the sea of fire with a panicked expression. Those firefighters can't do anything. Only you can save them. The surrounding cries grew louder. Mixed with the sirens, it was like a soul-chasing song. Only I can do it. Number 9 raised his eyebrows. Yes, only you can do it. Windsor looked at number 9 with certainty. All right. Number 9 didn't say much. He took 2 steps forward, but the police were still stopping him. It's dangerous ahead. Unrelated personnel are not allowed to approach. Looking at the clothes that number 9 was wearing, the police felt disdain in his heart. In society, there were always these people who looked like they were having a headache. They were still eating government subsidies and wasting taxpayers' money. Hurry up and leave. The police tried to chase number 9 away. But at this moment, number 9 bent his knees slightly. Then, with a bounce of his feet, he instantly left the ground and jumped 7 to 8 meters high. Oh my God! How is this possible? Is he Spider-Man? Or Superman? Everyone's eyeballs almost popped out. Number 9's eyes landed on the wall of the building. One of his hands was directly inserted into the wall. Number 9's palm seemed to be made of steel. He easily clasped onto the wall and hung his body on the wall. Number 9 exerted some strength with his arm and pulled himself up another 3 to 4 meters high. Then, he clasped his other hand into the wall. Under everyone's dumbfounded gazes, number 9 used the same trick and easily reached the burning 10th floor. He jumped into the sea of fire. He heard the sound of a child crying. Number 9 swept his gaze around and saw 2 adults protecting a child. They were hiding under a table and there were raging flames beside them. These flames surrounded them as if waiting to consume their last bit of hope before devouring them completely. Mom, Mom, sob sob sob, where are you? The child kept crying. The 2 adults next to him coughed non-stop as if they were choking on the smoke. Humans were too fragile. Number 9 shook his head. Then, he took a deep breath and blew at the sea of fire in front of him. Who? It was said that the wind would aid the fire. However, if the wind was too strong, it could block the oxygen and cause the flames to dissipate. The wind created by number 9 was just that strong. With a gust of wind, it immediately suppressed the sea of fire. All the flames were blown away in an instant. The people outside were all dumbfounded. God! Is this guy a god? Superman! Come out and see Superman! Many people began to take photos. In an instant, a man wearing a size 9 black shirt and a scarlet cape appeared on America's Twitter in the form of photos and videos. Number 9 looked like she was carrying a bunch of chicks. She carried 3 people, big and small, and directly jumped down from the 10th floor. A gust of wind blew past his ears. The 3 people in his arms were so scared that they almost peed their pants. Bang! Number 9 landed on the ground, leaving 2 deep footprints on the ground. Cracks appeared on the ground, spreading in all directions like a spider web. Hero! Superman! No, it's a god! Everyone cheered. Number 9 looked at their gazes and listened to their heartfelt applause. She suddenly had a strange feeling in her heart. He seemed very happy. Awesome. Windsor came up and directly threw herself into Number 9's arms, hugging him tightly. Number 9 was startled. Feeling Windsor's embrace and softness, as well as her warmth and body fragrance, he only felt that something in his heart seemed to be fiercely tugged. I knew it. You will definitely be fine. Windsor excitedly introduced Number 9 to everyone. Please remember this person. He is our Tell City's hero. His name is Number 9. China. Capital University. Hey, are you still ignoring me? As soon as Li Fan went out, he bumped into Liang Yu. The little girl had a ponytail and changed into a pink clover sportswear. She was wearing headphones as if she was going out to exercise. When she saw Li Fan, she turned her head and actually chose to go down the stairs. Damn, do you hate me that much? Li Fan smiled bitterly. Ever since he sent the fainted Liang Yu back to the dormitory safely, she had been ignoring him ever since she woke up. According to Li Fan, when they were driving, they were hit by an oncoming truck. Then, Liang Yu fainted. As for the driver who caused the accident, he fled and was being apprehended. Without a choice, Li Fan couldn't find a suitable excuse. As for Enjing, she had also cooperated by sending 2 police officers to understand the situation of the accident from Liang Yu and confirm the matter. However, to Liang Yu, she seemed to have a knot in her heart. It made her begin to maintain a distance from Li Fan. Li Fan had no choice, but this was good as well. There was less than a week left. If this continued, he could leave this place safely without any worries. However, the last time, Taiwan had launched a crazy attack. Who knew if they had given up on the assassination attempt? Li Fan felt that he had to be more vigilant in the next 7 days. He didn't want the Taiwan assassins to have an opportunity to take advantage of him. Li Fan got the 4 sword attendants to hide in the 4 directions of Imperial Capital University. No matter where there was any abnormality, they could rush over immediately. Students, there will be an outdoor class today. When Li Fan arrived at the classroom, the female teacher suddenly said to everyone, "Outdoor class?" Everyone broke into a flurry of discussion as the female teacher continued explaining. It turned out that students from the music department would go to the school's concert hall to listen to a real concert. Every year, the school would organize such an event. It was funded by the music department and invited famous musicians who had graduated from the school to return to the school to perform the concert. The goal was very simple. It was to serve as a bridge between the past and the future, giving the new students a perfect guide. Furthermore, from another perspective, this concert was also a chance for the students to be apprenticed to a teacher. No matter how good the school's teachers were, it was impossible for them to bring up so many students alone. However, if a musician took a fancy to these students, each person could bring up one of them. With the other party's standards and connections, the students would definitely be able to go further on the path of music. Teacher, will all the students from the music department be participating? Li Fan thought of Liang Yu. That lass studied the violin. Would she be coming as well? Yes, there will be a total of 19 students from the music department. Not a single one will be missing. The female teacher nodded, confirming Li Fan's thoughts. Li Fan mumbled in his heart. It seemed like he had to meet them this time. From the tone of the female teacher, this concert seemed to be very important. Liang Yu, How would she face him when the time comes? Chapter 1568. Regardless of whether Li Fan and Liang Aryu were willing or not, the concert was held the next day as scheduled. The 19 students from the music department were gathered here. It had to be said that a girl like Liang Aryu would be the center of attention no matter where she went. Even in such a high-end concert, even the musicians on stage couldn't help but look at her when she sat in the front row. There was actually such a beautiful girl in this year's batch. Liang Aryu, right? I heard that she was a musical genius and practiced the violin. The violinist immediately became happy. He was only 30 years old this year, so he still had a chance. When he accepted her as a disciple and spent time with her, she would definitely be moved by his talent and handsomeness. Uncle and Lolita, it was trendy now. Liang Aryu's long black hair was loose today, and she wore a white dress. She sat there, looking incomparably cold and elegant. There were 2 empty seats next to her, and there were 2 boys sitting next to them. It wasn't that these 2 boys didn't want to sit there, but they didn't dare to. Although Liang Aryu was beautiful, there was no one in Imperial City University who didn't know of her fierce reputation. As for Li Fan, he sat in the second row near the side. He wasn't here to choose a mentor, and it wasn't to let the mentor choose him. In such a place, the more low profile, the better. But Li Fan didn't know that Liang Aryu had already made a decision in her heart. Liang Aryu planned to use the violin here today to boldly confess to Li Fan. She was a member of the Liang family, so why should she be afraid of wolves and tigers? Confess, let Li Yun, this guy who liked to escape, really face her true feelings. Even if he had a girlfriend, it didn't matter. She believed that with her charm, she could definitely snatch Li Yun's heart. A magnificent and beautiful concert slowly unfolded. The melodious music spread in the concert hall, reverberating in every corner, wandering into everyone's ears. Even Li Fan had to admit that this was indeed a feast for the eyes and ears. After the applause, it was every student's turn to show their musical talent. Liang Aryu picked up her violin and was the first to walk on stage. She placed the violin on her shoulder, and her black hair and skirt fluttered with the music. Liang Aryu glanced at Li Fan, who was below the stage, and once again confirmed her decision. However, just as the song was about to reach its climax, the doors of the concert hall were kicked open. Indeed, the door was kicked open. With an earth-shattering bang, even the musicians who were playing couldn't help but stop and look at the people outside. Do you villagers deserve to listen to music? Master Zhang was wearing a white martial arts suit and a white Peking opera mask. He walked in slowly with his hands behind his back. Do you know what music is? Li Fan was a little surprised to see this guy walk in. He immediately guessed that this guy was from Beibei. However, how did he get in here? Could it be that he had defeated all 4 sword servants? If he didn't make a move, Li Fan wouldn't be able to judge his strength. However, behind him, another 3 people came in. There were 2 of them. One was wearing a black martial arts uniform, and the other was wearing a yellow martial arts uniform. Both of them were wearing Peking opera masks. The last one was wrapped in black and wearing a mask. He urged, Master Zheng, Master Yang, Master Li, I'm counting on you. There's no need for the 2 of them to come out. I alone am enough. Master Zheng said as he rolled up his sleeves. If it weren't for the fact that the other 2 martial masters had returned and Master Zheng was worried that they would steal the credit, he wouldn't have come today. According to his plan, with his strength, it was more than enough to defeat Liang Aryu before the last day. Look, this girl still doesn't have anyone to protect her. How could there be any martial arts masters in China? Master Zheng, this is not the time for you to act like a hero, the holy envoy hurriedly advised. Bullshit. Do I need to act like a hero? Master Zheng scolded, my strength is right there. Didn't I defeat that young lady just now? The other 2 martial masters also seemed to be watching the show. They crossed their arms and stood at the side, not interfering. Li Fan frowned. Sure enough, the one guarding nearby should be Dong-er. Dong-er was very knowledgeable, but her martial arts was the weakest among the 4 sword servants. To be able to defeat her, this Master Zheng at least has the strength of a grandmaster. The sword formation of the 4 sword servants together is the most powerful. If they were separated individually, the 4 of them's fighting strength would drop a lot. Li Fan also didn't expect that the Lotus cult would be so ruthless and really send their Grandmaster-level expert. One must know that even in China, Grandmasters are as rare as phoenix feathers and unicorn horns. Every Grandmaster is a sect leader-level position in a large sect. It's hard for them to even go out, let alone take the lead in an assassination. Who are you people? The security guard in the concert hall immediately pulled out his rubber stick and walked toward Master Zheng. Everyone here, stay here obediently. I only want that girl's head. The life and death of the others have nothing to do with me. Master Zheng's words made Liang Ayu's face slightly pale. Psycho. Follow me to the security office. The security guard stepped forward, wanting to grab Master Zheng's shoulder. But at this time, Master Zheng's hand grabbed his wrist and twisted it to the side. Crack. The security guard's arm was directly dislocated. He screamed, grabbed his arm, and knelt on the ground. Dislocating tendons and bones hand? Li Fan's brows slightly wrinkled. He has heard of this move before. It seemed to be gradually lost in the pugilistic world. He didn't expect to see an authentic move from a martial artist from Taiwan today. If you don't want to die, be more obedient. Master Zheng sneered. The people in the concert hall became silent, looking at the masked martial artist in fear. Little girl, don't blame me. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself. Master Zheng sneered again and walked toward Liang Ayu. Kill Liang Ayu and take all the credit. Maybe, he can even become a deputy sect leader. From then on, he can enjoy glory and wealth. Maybe, the sect leader can even give him a chance to go to the prosperous American Empire and open a branch sect or something. Thinking of this, Master Zheng quickly took 2 steps forward. His body suddenly turned into a gust of wind. He stepped on the seats and used his qinggong. In the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of Liang Ayu. Then, he used the dislocating tendons and bones hand to grab Liang Ayu's neck. Liang Ayu stood there in a daze. She seemed to be in despair. Forget it. Maybe it's not bad for a person like me to die. However, I haven't had the chance to tell Li Yun that I like him. I'm too proud. Maybe until death, he will feel that I'm just a momentary novelty to him. It seems that I'm a little regretful. If I can start all over again. Chapter 1569. Just as Liang Ayu was about to quietly welcome her death, a hand suddenly reached out from the side and grabbed Master Zheng's wrist. Master Zheng was stunned for a moment. His invincible dislocating tendon and dislocating bone hand was actually caught by someone else. Moreover, the opponent seemed to be very strong, to the extent that he couldn't even move his hand. Li Yun, seeing Li Yun suddenly making a move, Liang Ayu was stunned for a moment. Stay behind me. Li Fan dropped these words, and at this time, Master Zheng's other hand suddenly stretched out and grabbed Li Fan's wrist, as if preparing to perform the tendon separation and bone dislocation on him. Insignificant skill. Li Fan snorted coldly. His body spun around in the air. Then, with the force of the rotation, he caused Master Zheng to stagger and somersault. Then, he was thrown to the ground by Li Fan. Li Fan added a kick and kicked Master Zheng off the stage. Liang Ayu stood there, seemingly still in a state of shock. Don't worry, I won't let you be in danger. Li Fan said and jumped off the stage. At this time, the ceiling was suddenly broken. 4 stunning sword maids descended from the sky and landed in front of Liang Ayu, protecting her. You guys are. Liang Ayu felt a little dizzy, but Chunna gave her a smile. Don't worry, with my husband here, I won't let you be in danger. 4 sword maids. These quadruplets were quite famous. After all, they were the signboards of the 7 Knights Villa. Therefore, when the Saint Envoy saw them, he couldn't help but exclaim. So it's the 7 Knights Villa? He carefully looked at Li Fan, guessing Li Fan's identity. On the other side, Master Zheng jumped up again and angrily looked at Li Fan. Brat, I only used 30% of my strength, and I was actually sneak attacked by a nobody like you. Don't be too proud, I will immediately break all your bones one by one. Come and try if you can. Li Fan displayed the crane strike technique. I will only use the basic skills of my sect to deal with you. That will be enough. Bullshit. You mainland dogs just like to boast. Master Zheng scolded, your bullshit kung fu, how can it compare to the authentic kung fu of my WNWN? Now, I'll let you experience what real martial arts are. As he spoke, Master Zheng stepped forward and performed the tendon dislocating bone dislocating hand again, grabbing at Li Fan's vital parts. However, Li Fan used the footwork of crane strike. His body was as light as a dancing white crane, and he easily moved around Master Zheng's left and right, avoiding his attacks. At the same time, he kept waving his hand and tapping on Master Zheng's acupuncture points. At first, Master Zheng only felt a little numb. But as Li Fan hit him more and more, he felt his body become sluggish. In next to no time, even his attacks became very slow, and even raising his hand felt like lifting a 500 kilograms object. Fuck, Master Zheng cursed, what kind of sorcery did you use? This is the crane strike technique, crane beak. It specializes in hitting acupuncture points and cutting off your qi and blood. Li Fan smiled and said, do you want to learn? I can teach you. You're Li Fan. The saint looked at the information in his hand and suddenly understood something. You're not the so-called Li Yun. You're Li Fan, the villa master of Seven Knights Villa. Damn it. The saint wanted to curse. Even in WNWAN, Li Fan's name was well known. He defeated Japan's #1 expert with his bare hands. He even messed up the US and was named as Li Fan's #1 blacklist. China is too ruthless. They actually sent such an expert to oversee this place. Miscalculation. Master Zheng, quickly retreat. The saint could only execute Plan B. In the Imperial University's music hall, he had already planted a remote bomb. As long as he detonated it here, he could still kill Liang Ryu. Bullshit. I'm the Hall Master of Lotus Sect. Great Master of Tendon Dislocation Bone Hand. How can I lose to a nobody? Master Zheng activated his true qi and tried to break open his sealed acupuncture points. He's not a nobody. The saint reminded Master Zheng, his Li Fan, the villa master of Seven Knights Villa. He's just a junior. How can he be mentioned in the same breath as me? But Master Zheng was still stubborn. I, Zheng, will definitely complete the task given by the sect leader today. Master Zheng can be considered to be unyielding. He really broke open his acupuncture points and used his fastest speed to grab Li Fan's shoulder. Master Zheng's mouth hung a smile. As long as he exerted force, he could remove Li Fan's arm. But Li Fan is Li Fan. His crane strike technique can be considered as a master of defense. When Master Zheng's hand just grabbed his shoulder, Li Fan's finger had already knocked on the elbow of Master Zheng's hand that was grabbing over. Bang! The internal force exploded. Master Zheng's arm went numb and lost all feeling. At this crucial moment, Master Yang and Master Li did not dare to watch the show. The two of them jumped towards Li Fan from the left and right. Master Yang on the left was dressed in black. He chopped down with his 8 trigrams hand knife, aiming for Li Fan's neck. And Master Li on the right was dressed in yellow. He lifted his leg and kicked towards Li Fan's head. Both of their moves were exceptionally fierce. Both grandmasters were using their best skills. However, Li Fan waved his left and right hands at the same time. 2 crane beaks hit Master Yang's wrist and Master Li's ankle respectively, poking the acupoints of the two people. Not only did he block their attacks, but he also made the two people suffer a hidden loss. Their hands and feet were temporarily numb. Li Fan alone fought against 3 Taiwanese grandmasters. He was not at a disadvantage. The saint was shocked. It's over. It's really over this time. Li Fan's reputation as an expert was indeed not groundless. It seemed that these 3 grandmasters could only sacrifice their lives for the cause of Taiwanese independence. Even if it was him, for the great cause, he would die. After his death, his soul would enter the Western paradise and see the real Lotus Buddha. Thinking of this, the saint did not hesitate and pressed the remote control on his body. In the previous plan, detonating the bomb was only a last resort. They had also taken into account their evacuation time. Therefore, there were still 3 minutes before the concert hall exploded. Beep, beep, beep. When the bomb started its countdown, Li Fan's ears twitched. There's a bomb. Li Fan understood, but he didn't say anything. There were still so many people in the concert hall. If they knew about it, it would cause unnecessary panic. The 3 grandmasters were also grandmasters. They heard the timer at the same time. Master Li and Master Yang hesitated. But Master Zheng, who was arrogant earlier, smirked. Hehe, this time, all of you will die. Chapter 1570. There was no music, but Li Fan seemed to hear a death concerto ringing in his ears. Master Yang and Master Li finally thought it through. They were both grandmasters with high status. They should not die in this kind of place. The 2 of them turned around and planned to escape. Master Zheng did not have the intention to leave. He felt that although he could not defeat Li Fan, he could still hold him back. Overestimating yourself. Li Fan was finally angry. These idiots, when the assassination failed, they actually played with a bomb. There were so many people in the lobby. If the bomb exploded, there would be countless casualties. If they are heartless, don't blame me, Li Fan, for being unjust. Thinking of this, Li Fan no longer hesitated. He directly hit Master Zheng's Baihui acupoint with a crane's beak. With a cracking sound, Master Zheng's head caved in. He swayed and finally fell to the ground with a thud. It was a quick and satisfying death. With his discrimination against Huaxia in mind, he died. As for Master Yang and Master Li, they escaped very quickly. The 2 of them used their qinggong, leaving no trace behind as they prepared to escape far away. Seeing that they were about to leave the lobby, Li Fan's palm sucked. The door of the concert hall immediately closed with a loud bang. No. The 2 of them wailed. They attacked the door together, trying to force their way in. But Li Fan stood there and activated his dragon capture hand. He actually pulled their bodies through the air and sucked them into his hands, pressing on their Baihui acupoint. Strong internal energy immediately poured in and restrained the bodies of these 2 people. With this kind of awareness, you still want to be independent. Li Fan sneered when he saw the saint's eyes that seemed to be about to transcend. He stretched out his hand and sucked. The seat beside him was directly pulled up from the ground and flew into the air, revealing a C4 bomb stuck on it. The red number on the LCD screen was counting down. There were less than 10 seconds left. The saint's body seemed to twitch, but he quickly recovered. 10 seconds, no one can escape. The saint sneered, this is a thermonuclear bomb. The radiation range is 1 kilometer, enough to raise everything to the ground. Really? As Li Fan spoke, he flicked his palm. The chair that was floating in mid-air suddenly bounced off as if it had been hit by a cannonball. In the blink of an eye, the chair pierced through the hole in the ceiling and turned into a meteor in the air. Boom! A red flame exploded in the sky. It was very dazzling, as if it was celebrating something. Li Fan, what happened? What happened over there? The quiet call immediately came in and exploded in Li Fan's ears. It's fine, it's all settled. Li Fan said, let your men come and clean up the battlefield. For the great and mighty Taiwan. The saint roared and pulled open his clothes, revealing a circle of detonators around his waist. Do you think there was only one bomb? And me? Looking at the bomb at the waist of the saint, Li Fan frowned slightly. What was the difference between this group of Taiwanese and a terrorist crisis? We are the true independence fighters, the great pioneers of the revolution. I am not afraid of death, my soul will live forever. My name will be remembered by every generation of the people of the Bay Country. Seeing the real bomb, the people in the concert hall screamed and scrambled to escape. No one can escape. Whoever takes a step out, I will immediately detonate the bomb. The saint's words forced them to stop. Also, the bomb is connected to my heart. If I die, my heart will stop beating and the bomb will explode. Bullshit independence fighter, I think you are a terrorist. Li Fan bluntly scolded, praise for future generations. I reckon that you will only be infamous. You, don't talk nonsense. The saint shouted, anyways, I will blow all of you into meat paste. Go ahead. As Li Fan said that, his body emitted a golden radiance, making him look like a Buddha. But let me tell you first, I have a life-saving skill that can protect me and Liang Are You. As for other people's life and death, it is not within my consideration. Do as you wish. Li Fan. What nonsense are you spouting? You must not let the bomb explode. When Enjing heard this, she hurriedly reminded Li Fan. Li Fan did not say a word, he naturally had his own thoughts. Damn it. When the saint heard this, he felt despair. How can there be such a skill? Don't try to lie to me. It's up to you whether you believe me or not. Li Fan chuckled, if I don't even have this ability, how am I going to fight the American aircraft carrier? Why don't you make a call and ask our old friends from the United States how many missiles they used to bomb me and see if I'm dead or not? The saint was in despair. If that was the case, how was he going to fight Li Fan? The few experts he sent were unable to withstand a single blow from him. His bomb was also ineffective against him. Li Fan stood in front of him with his arms crossed, looking at him mockingly, like a cat teasing a mouse. This was Li Fan, the villa master of the Seven Heroes Villa. It could be said that he did not even think of him as a threat. I don't believe it. I will bring all of you to the afterlife. The great United States, I will accompany you to the afterlife. The saint shouted as he raised the remote control in his hand. The faces of the people in the concert hall started to distort. Were they going to die? Heavens, they were here to kill Liang Are You. Why did they have to pay with their lives? Why? Damn Liang Are You, if she wants to die, let her die by herself. Li Fan, do you think you are very righteous? The saint took 2 deep breaths, he felt like he was being led by Li Fan. This could not go on, he must turn the situation around. Everyone here, why don't we play a fairer game? The saint decided to disgust Liang Are You and Li Fan before he died. He wanted to see the two of them collapse. He was the real winner. I will give all of you a chance, you can vote. You have 2 choices. Tell me, does Liang Are You deserve to die? If you don't think she deserves to die, stand beside Liang Are You. There are so many of you here, protect her in the center, and maybe she can survive. After all, she is the daughter of a deputy national leader. But if you think she deserves to die, you can go to a small room in the innermost part of the concert hall. You might have a chance to survive there. So what if she is the daughter of a deputy national leader? Why should we die with her? That's right, there are no good people in the government. If they want to die, let them die by themselves. I am a famous musician, I am overflowing with talent, I do not want to die in this place. Liang Are You likes to bully people in school, she is a bully, so what if she dies? Please let us live. The person who spoke was the violinist who wanted to get close to Liang Are You. Liang Are You listened to everyone's condemnation, she was very depressed and knelt on the ground. Chapter 1571. Everyone was condemning her as if they were facing a trial. Liang Are You knelt on the ground with a depressed look as if she had lost the courage to live. But at this time, Li Fan suddenly shouted, "All of you shut up." His voice was like a clap of thunder, and it shook the ears of everyone who was cursing him to the point that their ears hurt, and they almost fainted. Liang Are You raised her head blankly and looked at Li Fan who was standing there. At this time, Li Fan's appearance had changed. Although it was only a slight change, he was no longer the Li Yun that she knew. Instead, he was the awe-inspiring and righteous seven-hero villa master Li Fan that she had seen on TV. Selfish trash, shut up. Li Fan bluntly scolded, "One more word of bullshit and even if he doesn't detonate the bomb, I will twist your heads off one by one. You're Liang Are You's bodyguard. I think you're a martial artist. I've seen you on TV." The violinist shouted at Li Fan, "What right do you have to decide our life and death? Who do you think you are? I'm a musician with a bright future. You know I." Without waiting for him to finish, Li Fan suddenly appeared beside him and waved his hand, giving him a slap. Pa. With a crisp sound, the musician with a bright future spun and flew up, crashing into a chair at the side, knocking over a large row of chairs. "Who's talking nonsense? Let me hear it," Li Fan asked while wiping his hands on the curtain next to him. It was as if his hand had been rubbed by something dirty. Li Fan's move stunned everyone. Now, no one dared to speak. Just when the saint wanted to continue to provoke, Li Fan suddenly turned his head and directly slapped the air at the saint. Mysterious dragon ice palm times overturning the sky and stirring the sea. The saint emissary's body was blown away by the wind from the palm. In the blink of an eye, he flew 7 to 8 meters away and slammed into the wall behind him. His whole body was stuck to the wall, and a layer of frost formed on his body, freezing him to the wall. As Li Fan practiced Taiji in reverse, his strength kept increasing, and his mystic dragon ice palm also became more proficient. Li Fan divided them into 2 levels based on the strength of the Grandmaster and the nine-tailed divine fox. Above the saint tier was the immortal tier. Above the immortal tier should be the heavenly immortals of the realm beyond heaven. It was said that their strength was even more ferocious, far surpassing the upper immortals and lower immortals. Perhaps they should be called the god tier. Exalted immortals were at the immortal realm, while inferior immortals were at the half-immortal realm. Li Fan cultivated day by day, improving his Taiji painting was his strength. He can feel that he is slowly approaching the half-immortal realm. Li Fan believes that as long as he can reach the half-immortal realm, he can even fight against the so-called ascendant immortals. Although he didn't know any celestial techniques, he had a whole body of martial arts. Who said that martial arts can't beat celestial techniques? Li Fan just had to turn the tables and make everyone's jaws drop. You don't seem to believe me. Li Fan crossed his arms and looked at the saint emissary who was frozen on the wall. I said that your bomb is useless, but you are still so noisy. Ha, if it was useless, you wouldn't have thrown the bomb just now. The saint emissary was shivering, but he was laughing loudly. Even though his voice was trembling, he was confident. Let me tell you, this method is useless against me. Also, I won't give you any more chances. Let's go together. The saint emissary didn't waste any more words and finally pressed the remote control. But at this moment, Li Fan stretched out his hand and condensed his inner strength to create the true dragon golden body, which instantly wrapped around the saint emissary's body. Rumble. In a golden light, the flesh started to swell and then explode. Red flames surged inside, but the space outside was not affected. Li Fan's control over his inner strength had also improved. Now, he could use the true dragon golden body at will and use it on other people. The effect of the golden body was mutual. It was invincible to the outside and invincible to the inside. This level of explosion was not enough to break his true dragon golden body. Therefore, the saint emissary was trapped in a cocoon and was pierced by the golden body until not even his bones were left. Didn't I say that it's useless? Why don't you stop? Li Fan shrugged, then pushed his palm, sending the image of the real body he had created into the sky, and then dispersed it. Bang, bang, bang. The compressed energy was released as the true dragon golden body dissipated and exploded in the air again. It was deafening. Blood rain fell and through the hole in the ceiling, it sprinkled on the concert hall. The blood rain fell on Li Fan's head and seemed to be afraid of Li Fan and fell to the side. Everyone looked at Li Fan's back in a daze. Is this Li Fan, the legendary villa master of Seven Knights Villa, the last martial artist who single-handedly held up the Chinese pugilistic world? This guy seems to be really powerful. Li Fan stood there and watched the door being knocked open. He watched the people from the National Security Agency rush in with a group of special police officers and quickly surround the place. Then, they began to clean up the battlefield. He was very calm and indifferent. He won, but it seemed to be a Pyrrhic victory. Liang Yu stood on the stage and looked at him with a very strange gaze. I want to complain about him. When the violinist, who had quietened down earlier, saw the special forces rush in, it was as if he had found a backer. He began to make a ruckus again and pointed at Li Fan, he's also a terrorist. He hit me and threatened to kill everyone. He roared, what I said is true. Who thinks that I'm spreading rumors? Point it out. No one said anything. Although Li Fan saved them, he also offended these people. This Li Fan was quite capable and dared to be so lawless. They were all famous musicians, but now, they were threatened by Li Fan. Although they were saved, it was only because the special police officers arrived in time. Maybe the police had arranged for Li Fan to be here to save them. This had nothing to do with Li Fan. It was all the police's credit. The police were right, but this Li Fan obviously had no respect for the law and did not know how to respect others. He had violated the law and had to be punished. The only mistake of these policemen was that they found an unreliable martial artist. Wasn't there such a martial artist in Huaxia? Anyone could be better than Li Fan, right? Alright, if you want to complain, go to the prosecutor's office or the Commission for Discipline Inspection. Xiao Chen was also in the crowd. When he heard the violinist's shouts, he rolled his eyes. Don't disturb us. Move aside. My friend is in the Commission for Discipline Inspection. I will also remember your employee number. I will also complain about you. The violinist kept shouting. Li Fan stood there with his arms crossed, his face as dark as water. And Jing walked out from behind the scenes. She was wearing a police uniform and walked to Li Fan's side. It's over. And Jing looked at Li Fan and said, you can return to the team now. Chapter 1572. You're returning just like that. Li Fan stood there quietly, watching and Jing. Aren't there still 6 days? We've already found the base of the bay. It's a high-end bath, and Jing said. And Jing said, by following the clues, we also destroyed a few special agent agencies and basically cleaned them up. Furthermore, since your identity has been exposed, you can no longer stay by Liang Ayu's side. From today onwards, a new person will take over your job. Upon hearing this beautiful colleague's words, Li Fan smiled bitterly. It was over. It was over just like that. That was good too. This wasn't his home to begin with. It was time for him to end his work here and prepare to participate in China's martial arts tournament. Li Fan originally didn't wish to participate, but Jiang Feng would definitely participate. This fellow was definitely aiming for the true immortal art. And if those people in the pugilistic world were to obtain the true immortal art, there would probably be a bloodbath in the pugilistic world. Furthermore, the true immortal art was a scam to begin with. When that happened, the entire pugilistic world would probably be plunged into misery and annihilated. In order for the pugilistic world to continue surviving, Li Fan had to participate in this martial arts tournament. Just as Li Fan was about to leave, a figure suddenly appeared in front of him. Li Fan stopped in his tracks. It was none other than Liang Ayu. The little lass looked at Li Fan with a somewhat unfamiliar gaze, but there was also an indescribable anger in it. Liang Ayu, before Li Fan could finish his sentence, Liang Ayu suddenly extended her hand and slapped Li Fan. With Li Fan's abilities, he could have easily dodged it. However, he didn't and directly took the slap. I hate you. With that said, Liang Ayu turned and ran. A few special police officers immediately followed. They had to replace Li Fan and protect Liang Ayu. From now on, these people had to protect Liang Ayu 24/7 until the deputy national leader completed the plan to reclaim Beibei. Dragon God number 1 was already prepared in the sky. As long as Beibei objected to the peaceful unification, China's fleet would enter Beibei. The United States might use this as an excuse to directly send troops to interfere with China's internal affairs. Even if they don't send troops and just lend the military equipment to Taiwan, it will be enough to make China suffer. However, things were different now. With the Dragon God number 1, China was practically invincible in the skies. As long as the Dragon God number 1 was dispatched, it would be able to seal off the American Empire's advance. This time, China announced to the outside world that they would be subduing Taiwan. This was China's internal affairs, and they asked other countries not to interfere in their internal affairs. Otherwise, it would be seen as a declaration of war. After a few decades, Huaxia once again made this statement. This is too much. The American Secretary of Defense slammed the table. China is simply looking down on us this time. What else could we do? Start a war? The president laughed bitterly. Once war breaks out, who knows how many people in our country will oppose it? When the time comes, the war will be over very soon. We can't lose Wanwan. The people in the cabinet were all reminding the president, once we lose Bei Bei, our hegemony will truly be over. I know we can't lose Bei Bei, but we don't have any cards to play now. The president shook his head. We are very passive. The voices in our country are actually very easy to deal with. The Secretary of Defense reminded. Your Excellency, did you forget about Pearl Harbor? You are saying, to let China experience another Pearl Harbor? As long as we facilitate this, it will be possible. The Secretary of Defense nodded. As long as everyone thinks that it was China who did it, they will immediately unite and start a war with China. I understand what you mean, but even so, are we really going to be involved in a war with China? The word war was unusually heavy. It wasn't a child's quarrel, nor was it a show of strength that the American empire liked. Once there was a war, money would be spent, people would die, and there would be sacrifices. No matter what, we cannot let China subdue Bei Bei. The Secretary of Defense exhorted again and again. Your Excellency, this is our last chance. When we assassinated Liang Are, you also said that this was our last chance. The president laughed bitterly. How many last chances do we have? That Li Fan is really too troublesome. The Secretary of Defense was also having a headache. I don't know why, he should have been killed by number 9, but he is still alive and lurking around Liang Are. This Li Fan is our biggest enemy. Oh right, how is number 9 now? He is now living in Tel City in the southeast. The Secretary of Defense reported. I heard. He has done a lot of good deeds and everyone calls him a hero. Hero? When the president heard this, he was stunned. That's quite ironic. No matter what, he should not be a threat at the moment. But we have not relaxed our surveillance on him. This person doesn't have a large-scale operation, just keep monitoring him. Although he knew that number 9 had killed a few people, the Secretary of Defense did not pursue this matter. Number 9 was still the American Empire's secret weapon. He was still useful. Also, this reporter, Windsor, she seems to be very important to number 9. We need to focus on her. Okay, we will do as you say. The president nodded and gave a new order. Focus on these people. As for China, we do not need to be anxious. Denounce them first, don't let us be in a passive position. Yes. Everyone went to carry out the order. On the other side, Li Fan packed his luggage and was preparing to leave Imperial City University. After living here for almost 3 months, Li Fan felt that he was getting used to the life here. Every day, at 2 o'clock, in the classroom, in the dormitory. Every day, he only revolved around one woman, and that was Liang Are. Now that he had left Liang Are, he was still not used to it. However, this was normal. The adaptability of humans was too strong. He had unknowingly adapted to this place, so he should be able to quickly adapt to the new life. Master, let's go? Chua stood beside Li Fan and asked softly. Okay. Li Fan nodded. He was wearing black sportswear and standing in front of the dormitory. He did not move for a long time. Master, are you waiting for someone? Chua asked. No, let's go. Li Fan raised his head subconsciously and took a look. Then, he walked out. He came cleanly and left cleanly. This was good. Just as Li Fan was about to leave, a bicycle suddenly rushed in front of him and blocked his way. Li Fan's heart sank. What was to come would come. Don't you have anything to say to me before you leave? Chapter 1573. With one foot on the ground, Liang Are looked at Li Fan seriously as if waiting for him to say something. Say what? Li Fan looked at Liang Are as his heart sank. This girl actually appeared. I feel a little depressed, but also a little happy. Just say what you should say. Do I need to teach you? Liang Are stared at Li Fan as if she wanted to see through Li Fan's heart. If you don't teach me, I don't know what to say. Li Fan smiled bitterly. Li Fan, I really hate you. Liang Are originally wanted to call out Li Yun, but when she recalled that he was not this person, her heart felt even more uncomfortable. My parents abandoned me, and that Luo Bei lied to me. I thought my life was in a mess, but unexpectedly, you appeared. I really Really thought that I could believe you. You could bring me a new life. But unexpectedly, you also approached me with a mask. Li Fan, you're not a martial artist, you're a liar. Big liar. Li Fan did not refute. At this moment, he also felt like a liar. Maybe you think I'm lying to you. Li Fan also said what was on his mind, but I didn't. Only my identity is fake. Everything else I've told you is the truth. Including me telling you that I have a girlfriend, and my life is not connected to yours. You're right. Liang Yu nodded. She suddenly raised her chin and looked at Li Fan with a victorious attitude, so I'll give you a choice. Either you take me away, to your place. Nonsense. You still have to go to school. Li Fan frowned. How could he live after abducting the daughter of the country's leader? The country already disliked him. If he were to do this again. You don't dare. Liang Yu seemed to see through Li Fan's thoughts as she sneered at him. That's not it. You don't like me? Liang Yu asked again. Liang Yu, when I accepted your mission, the first thing my superiors told me was that I cannot have feelings for you. Li Fan reminded Liang Yu, you're the daughter of a deputy national leader, while I'm an exiled person from China. If you follow me, you might even implicate your family. I don't care. I just want to live my life according to my own ideas. Then you are too willful. Li Fan bluntly criticized her. Your father was conscientious and devoted his whole life to building the country. And you turned him into a naked official just because of your love affair. In China, naked officials could not be promoted. If Liang Yu was determined to follow Li Fan, she might be expelled from China, and her father might have to step down from his position as a deputy state. That's his problem, not mine. Why should I be responsible for him? Liang Yu stomped her foot. Can't I even have my own life? Everyone has to be responsible for their own life. Li Fan said, you were born into such a family. You have gained something from this family, and you have also lost something. This is your fate. You actually believe in fate. Liang Yu took out a book and threw it in front of Li Fan. I've read this book countless times. You're a guy who doesn't like to succumb to fate. Li Fan looked down and was stunned. Fuck. The Last Wuxia, the biography of Li Fan? Which big brother came up with this, and even published such a book? What The Last Wuxia? There were thousands of martial artists in China. When was it his turn to be the last wuxia? This title was too heavy for him to bear. Li Fan glanced at the publishing house. Motherfucker. Sure enough, it was Liu Wn who found someone to publish it. They were treating themselves as big IPs. Not only were they producing movies and TV shows, they were even producing novels now. It's written clearly on it how you turned from an ordinary, mediocre high school student into a great master whose name shook the martial world. It's a novel. There will be some exaggerations. Li Fan laughed dryly. Don't take it too seriously. This book has supported me for a long time. Liang Yu's gaze was firm. I believe that one day, I can also defeat fate. Maybe, but I feel that now is not the time. Li Fan turned his head. Let's end our story here. Even if it's a novel, there will be an ending sooner or later. I still want to write my story. As Liang Yu spoke, she picked up the violin stand at the side and took out the violin inside. Then, she smashed it heavily on the ground. This expensive violin was smashed into pieces. I don't want to learn the violin anymore. From today onwards, I, Liang Yu, will learn martial arts from you, Li Fan. Your behavior, other than proving that you are a prodigal, has no other value. Li Fan felt that Liang Yu's behavior was a bit childish. Alright, I'm leaving. You can choose your own life, but don't pester me. Li Fan said those harsh words in order to make Liang Yu give up on this thought. Long pain was better than short pain, and short pain was better than no pain. I've already made up my mind. You can't change my mind. Really? Li Fan suddenly pointed behind Liang Yu. Auntie, why are you here? Mom is here. Liang Yu immediately turned around to look. At this moment, Li Fan's hand suddenly landed on her neck. With a smack, Liang Yu fainted and was carried by Li Fan. A policewoman walked out and extended her hand, letting Li Fan pass Liang Yu into her arms. Silly girl, you still have a long way to go. Li Fan looked at the fainted Liang Yu and couldn't help but stretch out his hand and gently ruffled her hair. Your violin is really good. If there's a chance, I want to listen to it again. With that, Li Fan left with Qiu without looking back. On the way, Qiu couldn't help but ask Li Fan, Master, is this really okay? There's a distance between me and her. Li Fan immediately said, this is even better. Don't tell me you're really going to let her follow me to become homeless. Li Fan was grounded. As a member of the National Security 9th Bureau, he couldn't leave China and couldn't enter the Li family island. However, Li Fan was currently in China and didn't have a fixed residence. The Seven Knights villa had already moved away. Li Fan didn't even have a property. He was more like a jobless person. Don't worry, Master. We've already arranged a property for you. Qiu seemed to have seen through Li Fan's thoughts and said, it's still in Spanish Equinox, at the seaside. With the help of Liu Wen and Lin Yuhin, we bought a house with a sea view for you. Fuck, does that mean I have to live a corrupt life? Chapter 1574. Li Fan did not expect that he would be able to usher in such a comfortable life. Right now, he was sitting on the balcony of his villa. As he gazed at the sea under the setting sun, he struck a unique pose. One of his hands was facing the sky, while the other was facing the ground. He stood on one leg and maintained his unique breathing technique. This was a pose that Li Fan had created. With this pose, he could absorb the vital energy of heaven and earth more efficiently. The vital energy would enter his body and reside in the Taiji diagram within him. Right now, Li Fan's Taiji diagram was spinning continuously. It spun 180 times, then 180 times in the opposite direction. It tempered and strengthened his strength over and over again. The 4 beautiful female sword attendants who served him were also strengthened by his inner energy. Li Fan was like a cultivation furnace. Even if the people beside him didn't know any martial arts, they would still be strengthened. They would turn from an ordinary person to an inner strength expert. Furthermore, the vital energy that he cultivated was very strong. It was very different from ordinary vital energy. Master's abilities have increased again. Qiu hugged her shoulders tightly. There was a look of desire in her eyes. I really hope that Master can use his great strength to whip me, crazy woman. Chana reminded Qiu. Hubby doesn't like this. Have you forgotten? But I can't help it. Qiu rubbed her legs. I finally have a new master. I want to use him properly. If you let your imagination run wild again, I'll smash your perverted brain. Xia couldn't take it anymore. She glared at Qiu. Master's abilities have increased a lot. Even we have improved a little. Dong checked her own abilities. If we work together, we should be able to fight a half-sage. Not enough. Xia gritted her teeth. The 4 of us must be able to defeat a sage. Mr. Future's opponent is someone even stronger than a sage. That's right. Chana agreed. We must continue to strengthen the 4 emblems sword formation. I have a new idea about this. Dong said, through my modifications, I can double, triple, or even triple the strength of the sword formation. Dong is indeed the best. Xia hugged Dong happily and spun around on the spot. It seems like Dong cares a lot about Master. Qiu licked her lips. Do you want to serve Master with me? What nonsense are you spouting? Dong turned her head away. I just don't want him to lose too badly. Yes. Then let's all start practicing. The 4 sisters also began to train their strength. At the same time, Li Fan also entered a new stage of cultivation. He was increasing his strength every day. Li Fan felt that he already had the strength of 5 martial saints. However, this kind of quantitative growth was not considered a qualitative improvement. At the same time, he made a contract with the 9-tailed divine fox in his heart and transferred her strength into his body. A dark red light emitted from Li Fan's body. Then, 3 fox tails formed from red energy grew out from his back and waved slightly. This was the 9-tailed divine fox's power. Li Fan looked at his hands and could clearly feel the difference in this power. His strength had doubled, rising to the level of the 10 sages. According to the 9-tailed divine fox, this was enough to be called an inferior immortal. Slap. In the sky beyond heaven, a celestial immortal suddenly opened his eyes. In the lower realm, I sensed an immortal-level power. The moment he spoke, the surrounding celestial immortals exclaimed, "How is that possible? What a joke! How can a human reach the level of an immortal? It's the power of our spokesperson, right? Aren't you being too sensitive?" "Shut up." The celestial immortal who spoke first cursed. "It's up to you whether you believe me or not. This person will be our greatest threat. Let Hua and you go take a look," someone suggested. "If they find him, execute him on the spot." Chapter 1575. Li Fan gathered the 9-tailed fox god's power and instantly increased his strength. The surrounding air seemed to tremble as if it was afraid of Li Fan's power. Li Fan was not stupid. He instantly retracted his power and returned to his original appearance. This power was already in the immortal realm. Using it rashly would definitely alert the sky beyond sky. Li Fan retracted his power in time and the 2 inferior immortals lost their target. That powerful force has disappeared. Jade looked left and right. That power disappeared from his detection range. "I'll go take a look." Flower was about to go but was pulled back by Jade. "No need. Maybe he has already left. Let's report this to the higher-ups. He doesn't come with good intentions." A person who had the power to rival the sky beyond sky could not be underestimated. Could he have cultivated the true immortal tactics? Flower could not help but mutter. Her beautiful face was filled with confusion. If it's the true immortal tactics, then it's easy to deal with. Jade laughed coldly. Mortals who have learned the true immortal tactics are just our cauldrons. The lower realm only has the true immortal tactics, right? Why don't I go investigate? All right. Jade thought about it. You go investigate. I'll report to the higher-ups. However, if you find someone who has cultivated the true immortal tactics, do not touch him. Keep him, he will be useful in the future. Got it? Stop nagging. Flower waved her hand impatiently. Jade turned around and summoned her treasure. An immortal sword. She stepped on it and left. Flower continued to control the petals to carry her body. She flew close to the ground and slowly approached the almost empty villa area by the sea. The power just now came from this side. Seems like it's here. There were many villas here, but Flower sensed that there was only one villa with the presence of people. Let's go take a look. Flower thought and instantly arrived at the location of the villa. As a result, she saw a familiar face at the villa. Li Fan. A girl from the sky beyond sky. One stood on the balcony while the other floated on the ground. The two looked at each other. It's you. The flower immediately became vigilant and stared at Li Fan like a tiger watching its prey. You actually broke through the level of a human? At that moment, the white tiger suddenly flew out and jumped into the air. Then, it released a white light. In the blink of an eye, an oval-shaped light enveloped the surroundings. The area was about 100 square meters, surrounding them in the center. 10 minutes. Miss White Tiger whispered into Li Fan's ear, "Restrain this girl, or else the people from heavens beyond will know about you. At that time, there will be thousands of troops coming to suppress you." Got it. Li Fan said that it was fortunate that Miss White Tiger was by his side. You want to keep me here? The flower also saw through Li Fan's thoughts. She sneered, "Stop dreaming. You'll know once you try." For 10 minutes, Li Fan did not dare to hesitate at all. He immediately gathered his strength and allowed the 9-tailed divine fox to attach itself to his body. In an instant, 3 red tails grew out from Li Fan's back and swayed back and forth. Demonic arts. Who are you? Frowned and looked at Li Fan. Do you think that you can fight against us after cultivating demonic arts? I originally did not want to attack you, but since your strength has already broken through the heavenly Tao, there is no longer such a restriction. Human, die. With that, the flower extended her hand and a beautiful rose suddenly appeared in the air and slowly rotated. However, Li Fan did not dare to underestimate it. He could feel a terrifying power from this rose. Go. The flower touched her rose and a ray of light immediately spread out. Immediately after, vines quickly flew up from under Li Fan's body and wrapped around Li Fan's body. Li Fan's hands were like blades as he used the Thunder Dragon Heavenly Punishment's Thunder Dragon Coiling Mountain to split apart the vines on his body. Where do you think you're going? The flower activated her demonic arts and tried to use the vines to capture Li Fan again. However, Li Fan used the dragon traversing 9 heavens and instantly appeared behind the flower. Under the enhancement of the 9-tailed divine fox's power, Li Fan felt that his strength had increased by leaps and bounds. It was even a little difficult for him to control. He originally wanted to appear behind the flower, but he didn't manage to stop in time. His whole body slid 3 to 4 meters away. This won't do. Thinking of this, Li Fan immediately dispersed the 9-tailed divine fox on his body. The 9-tailed divine fox's voice sounded in his ears. What are you doing? Without me, how are you going to defeat this inferior immortal? Darling, don't mess around. Let's work together to defeat her. However, Li Fan had already dispersed her power and returned to his original strength. Hehe, do you think you can defeat me with just your own strength? The flower curled her lips as if she did not take Li Fan's strength seriously. If she could not use demonic arts, this Li Fan was just an ordinary person. How was he going to fight her? She controlled the vines and wrapped them around Li Fan again in an attempt to tie him up. However, this time, the vines only wrapped around Li Fan's afterimage. The real Li Fan had appeared next to the flower at some point in time. What? The flower was shocked. She immediately turned around and the rose in her hand exploded with an emerald green power. She shot it toward Li Fan. It was like a green laser that shot out in an instant. However, Li Fan moved his body and easily dodged the flower's attack. At the same time, Li Fan punched the flower's lower abdomen. Although the flower practiced immortal arts, her body was not made of steel. This time, the flower curled up like a shrimp and spat out a mouthful of bitter saliva. Her whole body was sent flying and she lay on the ground. However, the flower used an immortal art and made the petals support her body. She stood in front of Li Fan again. However, Li Fan appeared again. He raised his leg high and swept it horizontally like an axe, heavily kicking the flower's head. How could the flower withstand such an attack? She immediately flipped and flew up. In the blink of an eye, she spun 360 degrees and smashed into the ground beside her, creating a large pit. Time was precious. Li Fan would not waste a single second. He quickly came in front of the flower again and prepared to give her a fatal blow. However, the flower floated up again. At the same time, the dazzling red rose slowly spun in front of her. An emerald green barrier condensed in front of the flower, blocking Li Fan's footsteps. This is the emerald barrier. Just you alone won't be able to break it. The flower looked at Li Fan mockingly, her eyes full of mockery. Although he had hit her a few times, she was still an inferior immortal. Who knew how many levels higher than him? She had a noble bloodline. How could she lose to this guy? At this moment, Li Fan had already raised his palm and slapped his emerald barrier. Chapter 1576. 15 Success Force, Mystic Dragon Ice Palm overturning the heavens and stirring the seas. Li Fan used all his strength in this palm strike and directly slapped the jade barrier released by his opponent. Ridiculous. Flower sneered. You think your attack can break through my... Before she could finish speaking, her jade barrier suddenly began to freeze. Then, where Li Fan slapped, the barrier shattered like glass. This allowed Li Fan's palm to break through the barrier and hit Flower's lower abdomen. Fart. Flower spat out a large mouthful of blood and flew backward, landing heavily on the ground. Li Fan's attack was like a destructive force that made Flower suffer. Her internal organs were in a mess, and it was difficult for her to stand up. Celestial? Li Fan sneered. He stood in front of Flower, crossed his arms, and looked at her lying there. You guys have only practiced some long-range techniques. Once I get close, you guys are no match for me. Li Fan was very satisfied. He had too much combat experience. Although Flower's attack was powerful, it was useless if it couldn't hit him. Speaking of which, the relationship between the two of them was a little like that between a mage and a warrior. Mags were naturally very powerful at long range, but as long as Li Fan used brutal charge to break the opponent's magic shield, the opponent would be at his mercy. Moreover, this so-called Celestial's body wasn't very sturdy and couldn't withstand a few hits. Right now, Flower was already seeing stars and couldn't get up for a long time. It's almost time. Finish her. Miss White Tiger reminded Li Fan. The nine-tailed divine fox was still in a daze. She didn't even expect that Li Fan could defeat someone from the realm beyond heaven without relying on his own strength. This man was indeed extraordinary. Don't be too proud. The Flower used the last of her strength to cry out. She knew that she was just too careless. Although this human was just an ant, his close-range attacks were very terrifying. Even she couldn't take all of them head-on. If he got close to her, it would be her death. Only by distancing himself from him could he guarantee his victory. Thinking up to this point, the Flower activated her celestial power, and an antique bronze mirror suddenly flew out from her body and floated in the air. What's that? Li Fan was stunned for a moment. He thought to himself that this Flower was too much of a show-off. She even brought a mirror with her when she came out to fight. Reverse. The Flower shouted. Then, everything began to rewind. The Flower relied on the mirror to return the sealed space to 10 minutes ago. As soon as she arrived, Big Sis White Tiger released her protective shield. Li Fan also swayed his 3 fiery red foxtails and stood in front of her. Without waiting for the Flower to react, Li Fan's figure suddenly disappeared, and then appeared behind her in an instant. Then, carried by inertia, he slid 3 to 4 meters away. In the next second, Li Fan removed his spirit fox possession and readjusted his battle stance. I won't be careless this time. The Flower smiled contemptuously. Then, she activated her rose. In the blink of an eye, several green lasers shot toward Li Fan from afar. However, the lasers only hit Li Fan's afterimage. The Flower didn't dare to delay. She activated her rose, causing the lasers to shoot wildly. However, Li Fan kept moving between the gaps of the lasers, avoiding every laser attack. He didn't panic and actually arrived in front of her bit by bit. Jade barrier. The Flower turned pale with fright. She hurriedly activated her jade barrier, subconsciously trying to block Li Fan. 150% strength, Black Dragon Ice Palm upheaval. Bam! Li Fan shattered the barrier and sent the Flower flying again. Reverse. The Flower didn't dare to delay. She quickly activated the Ancient Mirror's ability again, returning time to 10 minutes ago. Li Fan swayed his 3 foxtails and disappeared again, then slid out from behind the Flower. At this moment, the Flower activated her skill. Jade barrier. First layer, second layer, third layer. This time, she decided to protect herself and drag out the 10-minute. As long as she could hold on for 10 minutes and wait for the others in the realm beyond Avalon to discover her, she would definitely be able to defeat this damned human. The jade barrier exerted 3 times its usual strength. The Flower poured almost all of her celestial energy into it, hoping that it could protect her well. This was a 3 times barrier. This time, the human wouldn't be able to break it again, right? 150% strength Supreme Dragon Fist, 100% hit. However, this time, Li Fan used a new skill. In a short instant, he punched more than 100 times. Every punch landed on the barrier, causing it to tremble continuously. Cracks gradually appeared on it. The defensive barrier, which was 3 times stronger, was finally broken under the crazy bombardment of Li Fan's fast fist. One of the punches landed on the Flower and sent her flying. Reverse. Before the Flower fainted, she once again used this power to reverse time and space and returned to 10 minutes ago. Her body immediately recovered to its peak state. Cold sweat appeared on the flower's forehead. Looking at the swaying three tails of Li Fan, she actually did not know what to do. He was clearly a mortal. Why was he able to render her helpless? The flower really could not understand. She could only use the power of the ancient mirror again and again, constantly readjusting the loss of control. She maintained a 10-minute cycle in an attempt to reverse this battle and defeat this damned mortal. However, he seemed undefeatable. After repelling the flower, the moment the flower released the ancient mirror, Li Fan suddenly stretched out his hand and grabbed the ancient mirror. Following that, his vital energy covered the ancient mirror and blocked the flower's mental control. No. The flower let out a wail. I felt that something was strange. Li Fan held the ancient mirror. You must have done something to this thing. We only fought for a short while, but I feel like a long time has passed. This is the space-time reversal mirror. Miss White Tiger was pleasantly surprised when she saw the mirror. Legend has it that the person who uses this mirror can reverse time for 10 minutes. Unbelievable. How could such a treasure be in the hands of an inferior immortal? Return it to me. The flower's face contorted. She urged the rose to release thousands of green lights that shot towards Li Fan. However, what kind of person was Li Fan? How could he be hit by such a move? Dragon traversing the 9 heavens. 9th stage body. In an instant, Li Fan transformed into 9 figures, confusing the flower's vision. The flower had no choice but to shoot randomly. However, she only hit Li Fan's after images. Over here. Li Fan's voice sounded from behind the flower. Without waiting for her to turn around, Li Fan's palm had already struck the flower's neck. Chapter 1577. The time reversal mirror was a mystical treasure from the sky beyond heaven. Li Fan holds this ancient mirror and tries it out. As long as he injects his essence into the mirror, he can turn back time by 10 minutes. Although it is magical, it is not suitable for multiple uses. According to Miss White Tiger, using it once will shorten his lifespan by 1 year. Using it is equivalent to using a year's time in exchange for a chance to take medicine for regret. For ordinary people, they would only dare to use it 7 or 8 times before they would not dare to use it again. But for immortals who have almost endless lifespans, there is no limit. As for Li Fan himself, because he ate a dragon, his lifespan is several times longer than ordinary people. He would not feel the pinch even if he used it once or twice. On this ancient mirror, it completely reflects how precious time is. Foolish mortal, quickly return the treasure mirror to me. Flower is locked in White Tiger Pagoda under the sea. This is where Miss White Tiger used to live. Because of the exposure of the seaside villa, Li Fan can only bring the 4 sword servants back here. There is also a unique place to imprison prisoners in White Tiger Pagoda. Even immortals can be locked up and even rely on unique chains to suppress the power of immortals. Flower is chained in the cage and can only be like ordinary people. She can only use her eyes and stare fiercely at the despicable human in front of her. You are already like this and you are still so arrogant. Li Fan is very helpless. These so-called inferior immortals are more arrogant than the other. You think you are higher than humans? We are already several evolution levels higher than humans. Flower ridicules Li Fan. A long time ago, we, the residents of Sky Beyond, were all residents of a cultivation planet. Our civilization and culture are many times higher than you humans. On our planet, humans will not destroy natural things. Humans will only cooperate with nature, absorb the power of nature and become one with nature. It sounds nice, but it is just absorbing the resources of your planet and turning them into your energy. Li Fan, on the other hand, exposed the secret of the flower with a single sentence. What outer heaven? What immortal? You came all the way here only because the energy of your planet has begun to dry up, so you were forced to embark on the path of interstellar travel. You and your people came to Earth and discovered this place. Earth is just one of your colonies. You lowly races, your civilization was started by us. The flower immediately shouted, when we descend here again, it will be the time of your death. I know that the day you break your oath and conquer Earth is not far away. Li Fan was already prepared. But you have to remember one thing. We Earthlings are not free. If you come, I will naturally dare to beat you back. Ignorant and arrogant, the flower sneered. We've already found a spokesperson. He'll help us complete the plan to wipe out the humans. Once all the humans have been cleansed, we can once again descend upon this continent and take over your land. Humans, haven't you noticed? Earth has already been ruined by you. Only we can save this planet. Earth is very good. Li Fan says, no matter how harsh the environment, Earth has been through it. Humans may have caused some damage to Earth, but there are people who have begun to reflect and turn around to love our scarred mother planet. I believe that one day, Earth will once again shine. Humans are extreme and selfish. Will they really save Earth? Humans aren't saving Earth, but themselves. Li Fan says firmly, and I am willing to protect such humans. You're ridiculous. The flower looks at Li Fan mockingly. If an ant stands in front of you and says, I want to protect my ant nest and not let you humans use it as farmland, what will you do? You'll only laugh and then stomp that poor ant to death. Ant. Li Fan curls his lips. Then someone like you who was defeated by an ant, isn't that even worse than an insect? Don't be so arrogant. The flower chokes with anger. Our spokesperson will be here soon. He's very powerful. He'll take revenge. Revenge? What kind of person is Li Fan? His brain is very sharp. Even Jiang Feng, when plotting against Li Fan, would have to think twice. This flower is inexperienced. With just one sentence, Li Fan is able to catch the flaw. This person has enmity with me. Wait. Ancient time reversal mirror, spokesperson, powerful, revenge. Li Fan squints his eyes and stares at the flower. You guys, resurrected martial Emperor Liaoju? The flower trembles slightly when he is stared at by Li Fan. Isn't this man a bit too scary? Just this one sentence of mine actually allowed him to guess about the martial emperor's matter. What nonsense are you thinking? It's not him. Looks like you know about martial emperor. Li Fan is even more certain of his thoughts. That's right. As my opponent, as your spokesperson, martial emperor is indeed qualified. You guys need him to work for you, but you can't let him go out of control. This means that you guys have taught him 2 levels of the true immortal arts. After spending time with by Lin Luo, Lin Yuhin, Liu Zhu, these extremely intelligent people, Li Fan's brain is getting better and better. His analysis causes Hua's heart to palpitate. How can there be such a monster among the humans? Could he be the nemesis of Sky Beyond Heavens? Impossible. Sky Beyond Heavens is incomparably powerful. It is not something that these humans can imagine. As long as a heavenly immortal comes, they can crush this guy with one finger. Even if he is proud of his success, he won't be able to be proud for long. Doomsday is about to descend upon this world. Even if you are a little smart, so what? Even if you defeat me, so what? The flower starts to attack Li Fan. In Sky Beyond Heavens, there are countless people with my level of strength. Those who are stronger than me are as many as the hairs on an ox. There are a total of 8 heavenly immortals who are as terrifying as the heavens and earth. The 8 of them all have the ability to destroy heaven and earth. If they want to kill you, they only need one breath. Sounds powerful. Li Fan is unmoved. Since that's the case, why don't you get them to come down and kill me? Don't be anxious. Doomsday is not too far away. The flower warns Li Fan one last time. When the time comes, I will personally see how you die. So stubborn. Li Fan shrugs his shoulders. Then let's wait and see. He didn't get much information from the flower, but Li Fan doesn't mind. There is still a long way to go. He can slowly get information from the flower. The threat of Sky Beyond Heavens will not disappear. Li Fan decides to use this time to properly practice his spiritual beast possession ability. Chapter 1578. Li Fan practiced day and night, training himself to adapt to the power of the spirit beast possession. As one of the 5 sages, once the nine-tailed divine fox possessed his body, his power would immediately double. This sounded good, but it was actually a little difficult to do. There was a limit to a person's ability to adapt. When Li Fan used the power of the Five Sage, because he had trained it bit by bit, it was very easy. However, once he entered the spirit beast possession state, his strength would double, and Li Fan would find it difficult to control. No matter how good his ability to adapt was, he would not be able to adapt to the power of the Five Sage when the power of the nine-tailed divine fox dissipated. It was like a person skating or swimming alone. When he was skating, he would adjust his balance. When he took off the ice skates, he would feel a little light. It was the same when he was swimming. When people came out of the pool, they would feel especially heavy. This was because they had adapted to the buoyancy of the water. It was the same for Li Fan. After adapting to one kind of power, he would not be able to adapt to another. Therefore, Li Fan could only train his other ability, and that was to adapt to the new power faster. As long as he could adapt to his new power in a few seconds, he would be able to greatly increase the battle power of the spirit beast possession. The last time he fought with the flower, it was really too dangerous. Fortunately, the flower was not an outstanding martial artist. If it was Jiang Feng, Liao Ju, or Murong Bo, they would have immediately seized the opportunity when he was skating to launch a fatal attack. There was still some time before the Huaxia martial arts competition. Li Fan used this time to fully train himself. After a month, Li Fan finally compressed the time he needed to adapt to the new power to 5 seconds. The time he could use the spiritual fox's power was extended to 10 minutes. With these 10 minutes of explosive power, Li Fan believed that it was enough for him to defeat his opponents. Of course, if there were too many enemies, 10 minutes was obviously not enough. However, after 10 minutes, Li Fan could still use the power of the white tiger. This way, he could increase the battle time for Li Fan. 10 minutes of the spiritual fox, 10 minutes of the white tiger, that was 20 minutes. However, Li Fan still felt that it was not enough. He needed to subdue another type of power. It's about time. We should head to the next sanctum. Noticing that Li Fan's strength had grown a lot, Miss White Tiger's voice sounded again. Let's go to the Azure Dragon Pagoda. He should be missing you by now. The Azure Dragon's successor had some ties with Li Fan. In the past, Li Fan had fought with him to protect Dragon Girl. It's about time we meet and catch up. Li Fan nodded. Miss White Tiger, how long will you be accompanying me this time? There were guards in front of the sacred tower. He had seen them at the White Tiger Tower before, so Li Fan was ready for battle. In the end, he only saw broken stones on the ground, which was a little strange. What's going on? Why are there rocks everywhere? Someone beat us to it. Li Fan's expression turned serious. There was actually someone who was attacking the Azure Dragon Pagoda. Enter by mistake. Or was it intentional? Quick, let's go in and take a look. Li Fan was a little anxious and stepped into the Azure Dragon Pagoda. Hey, wait. Before Dragon Lady could stop Li Fan, he had already stepped into the pagoda. Aya, this idiot. I haven't finished speaking yet. Dragon Lady wanted to cry but had no tears. At this moment, Li Fan was standing in the hall of the Azure Dragon Pagoda. There were countless clocks hanging on the walls around him. When Li Fan stepped into it, he immediately felt the ancient mirror he was wearing tremble as if it was resonating. Then, the clocks on the wall suddenly stopped, and a green glow immediately wrapped around Li Fan. When Li Fan regained his vision, he was sitting up on the bed. Everything around him was a little familiar, but there was also a sense of unfamiliarity. Still sleeping? Get up and wash your face and teeth. A voice that he hadn't heard for a long time sounded in his ear. Li Fan turned his head and saw an average-looking middle-aged woman wearing an apron used by housewives. She waved a frying spoon in her hand and shouted at him. Ma! Mom! Li Fan cried out involuntarily. Why are you here? Did you sleep too much? The middle-aged woman glared at Li Fan. You only know how to play games every day. Let me tell you, if you don't do well in this midterm exam, I will smash your computer. Get up. With that, the middle-aged woman went to cook for Li Fan. Li Fan stood up in a daze and looked at the scenery in front of him. This is Li Fan's house, yes, but it has 4 bare walls. His room is not big, only 5 square meters. Other than a bed, there is only a study table. On the table is an old computer. It was thrown to him by a relative who could not sell it for a high price. This computer left a deep impression on Li Fan. After all, it was an old computer that could be stuck for half an hour playing LOL. Back then, he played LOL on this computer and met Murong Ying. But everything returned to the beginning. Could it be that everything that had happened was just a dream of mine? Li Fan touched behind him and touched the pillow. He immediately felt something hard. He touched under the pillow and immediately felt a cold mirror. Treasure mirror? What is the specific name of this mirror? Miss White Tiger said it before, but Li Fan forgot. He only remembered that this mirror has the effect of reversing time. But the mirror can only reverse time for about 10 minutes. It is impossible to reverse time for several years, right? Li Fan carefully thought for a moment. He suddenly remembered the wall clocks he saw in the Azure Dragon Tower and began to guess. Clock. Time. Every sacred tower has its own unique ability. Could it be that this Azure Dragon Tower has the effect of reversing time? But how can I break out of this situation? The dragon girl is not by my side, no one can tell me what to do. At that time, I seem to have heard the dragon girl calling me from behind. But what to do? She did not say. Li Fan touched the treasure mirror, trying to awaken the power of time on the mirror, so that he can return to the tower. But the mirror did not respond at all, as if it is just an ordinary mirror. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and get up. His mother rushed in and lifted the quilt. A chill hit Li Fan's body, dawdling, I don't know who you got it from. Why are you holding a mirror? Don't be smug. His mother snatched the mirror and threw it to the side. Fortunately, this is a treasure mirror. It did not break when it fell to the ground. Li Fan had no choice but to obediently get up, endure the cold, and begin to put on his clothes. He checked his body in the mirror. It is very thin, just like himself in the past. At this time, he did not learn any martial arts. Li Fan wanted to give a high kick, but his leg could not be raised halfway. It was extremely sore. Damn it. What should I do? Chapter 1580. Li Fan changed into his school uniform. This was the slimmest uniform in school, but it was still very loose on Li Fan. He used to be very weak. Otherwise, he would not have been bullied in school. Li Fan sat in front of the folding table in the living room. He looked at the plate of scrambled eggs with tomatoes, millet porridge, and steamed buns. He did not know why, but his eyes suddenly became moist. At this moment, his mother had not been moved by Murong's family's sugar-coated bullets. Although she was very strict with herself, she would wake up early and return late every day. She would cook, wash, and do housework for him. It had been a long time since he had such a life. Li Fan now had a lot of responsibilities, but he could not be filial by his parents' side. This made Li Fan feel a little guilty. At this moment, looking at his busy mother, Li Fan really wanted to say thank you, but he could not say it. Chinese people were actually like this. When chasing a girl, they could shout I love you over and over again, even if the other party did not have feelings for you. However, in front of his true love, he could not say these mushy words. What are you looking at? Did you sleep too much? His mother walked over and reprimanded Li Fan, hurry up and eat. After eating, go to school. Look at that Lin girl. Her mother and I are selling pancakes at a stall. That girl does not have to worry about us. Her grades are good, and she is the top student in her grade. When can you let me be at ease for once? Let's not talk about other things. Can you pass your math? Mom, I know I haven't done well. I will try my best in the future. Li Fan's words made his mother stunned for a moment. This kid usually liked to talk back. He had a strong rebellious mentality. What was wrong with him today? Did the sun rise from the west? Why was he so polite to her? His mother subconsciously reached out and touched her son's forehead. It's not hot. Mom, I'm full. I'm going to school. Li Fan picked up his bag and set off on the road to school. He should still be in second high. A year 1 student. Based on what his mother said just now, she seemed to know Lin Yuhin's mother. He had never paid attention to this matter in the past. Seemed like his ill-fated relationship with that lass Lin had long begun. Li Fan had only taken 2 steps when a little girl wearing the same school uniform as him, with a ponytail swaying, followed him. Little Li, wait a minute. Fang Xiaoxue? When Li Fan saw this little girl, his body suddenly trembled. A memory that had been hidden in the depths of his heart for a long time was torn open just like that, once again appearing in front of Li Fan. Fang Xiaoxue was Li Fan's neighbor. She was 1 year younger than him. She was not very beautiful. She was rather delicate and had a very cheerful personality. She had known Li Fan since he was a child. The relationship between the 2 families was also quite good. In the past, when they ate and drank together, their families had even decided to let the children of the 2 families get married in the future. At that time, Li Fan and Xiao Shui were still young and did not pay much attention to this matter. However, Xiao Shui was very close to Li Fan. She always followed behind Li Fan and played with him. As he grew older, Li Fan became thinner and weaker, while Xiao Shui became more and more lively. When they were young, Li Fan took care of Xiao Shui. Now, it was Xiao Shui taking care of Li Fan. Xiao Shui's wish since she was young was to become a police officer. Therefore, during the holidays, she followed her mother to work at a stall and used the money she earned to learn some ladies' wrestling and grappling techniques. She ran over and hugged Li Fan's shoulder. Little Li, why did you go out so early today? Xiao Shui leaned on Li Fan's body. Her fragrance floated into Li Fan's nose. I went to your house to look for you. I didn't expect you to run away first. What's wrong, hiding from me? How could that be? Li Fan's nose turned sour again. Almost subconsciously, he gently stroked Xiao Shui's cheek. Xiao Shui's skin was still white and smooth. It felt good to the touch. But for Li Fan, this was not the point. The point was, she was still alive. What are you doing? Xiao Shui's face suddenly turned red. She was flustered and pushed Li Fan away. But Li Fan was too thin and weak at this time. He was immediately pushed by Xiao Shui and fell on his butt. Aya, are you okay? Xiao Shui was shocked. She quickly reached out and pulled Li Fan up again. She even patted the dust off his body. Who asked you to suddenly touch my face? Fang Xiaoxue pretended to be fierce. She stared at Li Fan. How dare you? Did you watch too many movies? Sorry. I was a bit rude. Just now, Li Fan couldn't help himself, so he did that. Who was Fang Xiaoxue? She was a girl who had accompanied him for the past 18 years. He always had this girl's shadow by his side. From a delicate girl next door, she became a natural and unrestrained girl. Why are you so weird today? Fang Xiaoxue looked at Li Fan. Her face was still a little red. Anyway, if you touch me again, I'll beat you up. This beat you up didn't seem to be threatening. Xiaoxue, what? Nothing. Let's go to school together. Li Fan suddenly remembered this day. It was on this day that he made the most regretful mistake in his life. The 2 of them walked towards the school. At this time, a person suddenly rushed out and bumped into Li Fan. Li Fan staggered and was supported by Fang Xiaoxue. Are you crazy? Don't you have eyes? Fang Xiaoxue had a bad temper. She immediately scolded the man who ran over. Catch the thief. A woman's cry came from behind. He stole the money for my child's doctor. I beg you, help me catch him. The woman cried miserably, but no one moved. The passers-by were all cold. However, Fang Xiaoxue didn't hesitate and chased after the thief. Li Fan frowned and grabbed Fang Xiaoxue's hand. What are you doing? Don't go. You've disappointed me. Fang Xiaoxue shook off Li Fan's hand and chased after the thief. Scenes of the past replayed in Li Fan's mind. Fang Xiaoxue chased after the thief, but she was stabbed to death by the thief and his accomplice with a dagger. When Fang Xiaoxue died, her hand was still tightly holding onto the stolen purse. However, the two thieves were nowhere to be found. Even the stolen woman wasn't willing to testify in court. Xiaoxue's death was not worth it. She didn't even know who to sue. In the end, the school used Xiaoxue as a negative example to tell everyone not to meddle in other people's business. As for Xiaoxue's parents, one was mentally ill, and the other was addicted to alcohol. Later, when they were driving, they drank too much, and the whole family crawled under the truck. This incident was a shadow hidden in Li Fan's heart. Chapter 1581. No matter when, Li Fan couldn't let go of this matter. Therefore, Li Fan could only hide this matter deep in his heart and pretend to forget it. He usually didn't think about it, but now that it was torn open and laid out in front of him, it made Li Fan's heart hurt again. This time, Li Fan didn't do what he did in the past. He didn't stand there coldly like the others, waiting for the nosy little girl to subdue the thief. They didn't care if the girl had the ability to catch the thief. They only cared if they would be late for work, and if they could buy the newly released iPhone. The company's Xiao Li was young and beautiful, and her position was higher than mine. She must have an affair with the boss. Whether time really went back, or all of this was an illusion, Li Fan's body returned to its previous level. He ran desperately, and when he reached the end, he didn't have much strength left. Li Fan saw Fang Xiaoxue standing at the entrance of the alley. In front of her was the thief, and behind her was an accomplice. Both of them held knives in their hands and stared at Fang Xiaoxue fiercely. "Why are you here?" Fang Xiaoxue looked at Li Fan worriedly. At this time, Li Fan was lying on the wall next to her, gasping for air. His physical fitness was really bad before. He only ran a few hundred meters, and he was already so tired. His lungs felt like they were about to explode. Every time he breathed, there was a feeling of needles stabbing him, which made him extremely painful. "You too, don't be nosy." The thief waved the butterfly knife in his hand and shouted fiercely at Fang Xiaoxue, "If you don't get lost, I'll take your life." "Ah, two little thieves, come and stab me if you dare." Fang Xiaoxue moved her muscles and bones. "If I don't beat the shit out of you two today, my surname isn't Fang." "You little girl, the money isn't yours. Why are you trying to be a hero?" The thief seemed to be a little anxious. "How about this? I'll give you half of the money, and you let me go. How about that? Split your ass." Fang Xiaoxue admired the police the most. How could she accept a thief's bribe? At this time, the faint sound of a police siren could be heard. It seemed that someone had called the police, or perhaps the patrolling police were just passing by. The thief was a little anxious. He threw the bag on the ground and turned to run away. "Where do you think you're going?" Fang Xiaoxue did not want to let him go. She wanted to catch the two thieves and bring them to the police station. Fang Xiaoxue stepped forward and grabbed the shoulder of the thief in front of her. Then, she twisted his arm backward. After all, Fang Xiaoxue had trained before. The thief was exhausted from running and was forced to kneel under the pressure. "Fuck, let him go." The accomplice behind her panicked. He held a knife and stabbed it at Fang Xiaoxue's back. This wasn't a butterfly knife, but a paratrooper's knife that he had obtained from who knew where. No one would be able to endure it if this thing pierced into their bodies. Back then, little Snow had been stabbed in the back by someone. Fang Xiaoxue was busy subduing the one in front of her. Although she had some training, she had no experience in dealing with these thieves. She didn't know that the thief was panicking, so he didn't hold back. He didn't even notice that someone was attacking him from behind. However, Li Fan saw it. Although he didn't have the strength to subdue the accomplice, he used all his strength and slammed into him. Pu. Li Fan slammed into the other person's chest. The paratrooper's knife didn't fall on Fang Xiaoxue's body, but it stabbed into Li Fan's lower abdomen. "Fuck." Li Fan smiled bitterly. A sense of powerlessness gradually grew. It was as if he could hear Fang Xiaoxue's screams in his ears. Then, Everything quickly left him. When Li Fan opened his eyes again, he was back in the room where he started. Get up. It's time for class. Li Fan heard his mother's yell. He subconsciously felt under his pillow. Sure enough, the mirror was there. Going back in time? Li Fan knew that if he died, he would return to the beginning of time. His mother came over again to yell at him to get up and go to school. The table was still filled with scrambled eggs with tomatoes, millet porridge, and steamed buns. After Li Fan went out, he saw Fang Xiaoxue as he wished. At that moment, Fang Xiaoxue didn't know what would happen in the future. She directly grabbed Li Fan's neck and talked to Li Fan like a tomboy. What's wrong with you? Why are you so quiet? Did Zhao Dong bully you again? Don't be afraid. I'll help you deal with him. That kid has been itching for a beating. I'll teach him a lesson. Zhao Dong was Wang Qiong's follower. He was a sports student and often bullied Li Fan. No. Ouch, my stomach hurts. Li Fan decided to stall for time. As long as he could stall for time, Fang Xiaoxue wouldn't die. As for the woman who was robbed, he was really sorry. When Fang Xiaoxue was in trouble, he didn't show up. This kind of person wasn't worth Fang Xiaoxue using her life to help him. What's wrong? Fang Xiaoxue looked at Li Fan worriedly. She knew that Li Fan's body wasn't very good since he was young. Was he sick? Let's go. I'll carry you to the hospital. Fang Xiaoxue didn't say anything. She carried Li Fan on her back and ran in the direction of the hospital. Both of their families weren't very well off. Naturally, they couldn't bear to take a taxi. In order to prevent Fang Xiaoxue from encountering such an accident, Li Fan followed her heart and started to pretend to be sick. Fang Xiaoxue carried him all the way to the nearest hospital. The doctor examined Li Fan from front to back. Li Fan even pretended to have chronic appendicitis in some parts of his body. You brat, you always skip meals and use money to surf the internet. On the way, Fang Xiaoxue was still scolding Li Fan. You're not allowed to do this in the future. I'll supervise your diet. From now on, eat with me at noon every day, yes. Although Fang Xiaoxue looked fierce, Li Fan was happy. Fang Xiaoxue could finally survive. Would the future change as a result? When he arrived at school, Li Fan even felt that Wang Qiong and Zhao Dong were much more pleasing to the eye. Until night, Li Fan lay on his bed and fell asleep with a smile. No matter what, he had solved one of his wishes. Those cultivation methods were still there. At worst, he could start all over again. He would definitely be able to meet Murong Ying and find Lin Yuhin. This was a different kind of rebirth. He could practice yin and yang reversal as soon as he came up. His strength could advance by leaps and bounds. Li Fan fell asleep happily. When he woke up, he heard his mother's shout. Get up. We're going to be late. Li Fan excitedly sat up. As a result, he reached out and felt the mirror under his pillow. Li Fan's face turned pale. He purposely put the mirror in the drawer last night. In order to prove his idea, Li Fan ran outside and looked at his mother's cooking. Scrambled eggs with tomatoes, millet porridge, yellow steamed buns. Chapter 1582. Even if the family was poor, Li Fan's mother still paid attention to his diet. Therefore, every morning, Li Fan had a fixed menu, which was rotated once a week. On Monday, it was scrambled eggs with tomatoes and millet porridge. On Tuesday, it should be steamed eggs with bread. Wednesday, milk cake. Thursday, Li Fan felt his heart was particularly heavy, his body was extremely heavy, and his head was also a little dizzy. What was going on? Was he going to live like this for the rest of the day? What was the pattern? Who could tell him? Li Fan was not in the mood for breakfast. He casually ate a few mouthfuls and left the house. Not long after, he stopped. Sure enough, Fang Xiaoxue's figure chased after him. She walked to Li Fan's side, and with that familiar movement, she grabbed Li Fan's shoulder. What's wrong? Why is your face so pale? Did you stay up late playing games last night? Xiaoxue, Nothing. You're crazy. Fang Xiaoshua's elbow was on Li Fan's chest. Li Fan was really confused. He followed Fang Xiaoshua almost mechanically, walking towards the school. He had indeed successfully saved Fang Xiaoshua the day before, but this endless day had not ended. Why? Li Fan could not figure it out. What was it for? Was this day going to last forever? Impossible. No matter how powerful the Green Dragon Pagoda was, it could not create a dead end. There had to be a way to resolve this situation. Every pagoda had to be conquered. For example, the condition to conquer the White Tiger Pagoda was to win the so-called war chess game. And this time, what was the condition for his victory? The Dragon Lady was not here, and no one told him. He had to guess by himself. But his brain was not enough. What a headache. If only he had by Lin Luo, Lin Yuxian, or Liu Zhu, these monstrous geniuses, to give him advice and suggestions. Li Fan was vexed, but as time went on, the robbery happened as usual. The thief ran past Li Fan. Li Fan stretched out his leg and tripped him. Fang Xiaoshua didn't understand what was going on at first, but when she heard the woman's cries behind her, she immediately understood. She pressed on top of the thief and subdued him. The street was bustling with activity. The thief's companions hid themselves, not daring to show themselves. Lil Li, you did well just now. After leaving the police station, Fang Xiaoshua kept praising Li Fan. I didn't expect you to be so brave. I have a whole new level of respect for you. Xiao Shui, I will definitely save you. Li Fan's thoughtless words stunned Fang Xiaoshua for a moment. She reached out and touched Li Fan's forehead for a while. It's not hot. What's wrong with you? It's okay. We've been delayed for so long. Let's go to class. Li Fan and Fang Xiaoshua walked all the way to the school, but when they passed a small alley, they were suddenly blocked by 4 people in front and behind. Li Fan was very familiar with one of them. It was one of the thief's companions. Lil Li. Don't be afraid. Fang Xiaoshua felt that they were not friendly. She protected Li Fan behind her and stared at the 4 people. What do you want? Fang Xiaoshua scolded. You want to fight? I'm not afraid of you. Nosy little girl, you've hurt my friend very badly. The thief's companion weighed the iron rod in his hand and sneered at Fang Xiaoshua. If I don't teach you a lesson today, you won't know the price of being nosy. Lil Li, I'll buy you some time. Run quickly. Fang Xiaoshua lowered her voice and said to Li Fan. Li Fan didn't say anything. He picked up a wooden rod from the side. It was about 1 meter long and seemed to have been taken from a bench. What do you want? Run quickly and help me when you find the police. Fang Xiaoshua was a little anxious. I told you, I'll save you. Although the other party only used a rod, it was hard to guarantee that they wouldn't use a knife or something if they were really anxious. Li Fan didn't want anything to happen to Fang Xiaoshua, so he could only make a move. Although Li Fan did not have the slightest bit of inner force and his physical fitness was not good, his combat experience was integrated into his mind bit by bit. Some moves couldn't be used, but it didn't matter. Li Fan still had other moves that he could use. Dragon subduing 12 swords. In this set of sword technique, some moves that needed to be matched with Qinggong couldn't be used, but there were some basic sword moves that could still be used. What nonsense are you talking about? Quickly run. Fang Xiaoshua was really anxious. At this time, a big man had already walked to Li Fan's side. He was holding a baseball bat in his hand and his mouth was sneering. Idiot, who do you think you are? As he said that, he waved the baseball bat. Let me teach you what a cruel society is. The big man saw that Li Fan was wearing a school uniform and was so thin and weak. He didn't put him in his eyes at all. However, Li Fan's body slightly lowered and easily dodged the big man's attack. Your movement is too big. As Li Fan said that, the wooden bat in his hand suddenly stabbed forward and directly hit the big man's throat. Woo woo. The big man covered his throat and knelt down. He couldn't speak for a long time, and his face was red. Hey! Hey! Fang Xiaoshua was shocked and couldn't believe her eyes. Behind Li Fan came the sound of wind. Another big man had already grabbed a folding stool and was aiming at Li Fan's head. Li Fan quickly turned around and leaned against the wall, dodging the big man's folding stool. At the same time, the wooden bat in Li Fan's hand stabbed out again, directly into the big man's armpit. The big man screamed in pain and dropped the stool. And Li Fan raised his foot and kicked him in the face, flipping him over. So tired, after barely using 2 moves, Li Fan felt his whole body was sore, and his breathing was a lot rougher. His current physical fitness was too poor. He really couldn't not train well. Bang! Fang Xiaoxue threw over her shoulder, throwing the big man who sneak attacked from behind to the ground in front of her. The thief's companion was trembling. He didn't have any sense of loyalty. He threw the bat and ran away. Are you really Xiao Li? Fang Xiaoxue came over to check on Li Fan's body. She saw that he was sweating a lot and was gasping for breath. I am. I read some martial arts magazines or something. You can't blindly train. You will damage your body. Do you understand? Fang Xiaoxue didn't think much of it. After all, Li Fan's physical fitness was there. Don't mess around in the future. You sit here for a while. I will call the police to arrest them. Li Fan and Fang Xiaoxue were busy at the police station for the whole day. At night, they went home to sleep. When he woke up in the morning, Li Fan touched the mirror under his pillow. Sure enough, he had returned to the beginning of the incident. Li Fan's expression didn't look good. It seemed that he had to think of a way. Chapter 1583. After going out, as usual, Li Fan ran into Fang Xiaoxue. This time, Li Fan used another method to make Fang Xiaoxue follow him to school from another route, successfully avoiding Fang Xiaoxue's death. No matter what, Li Fan could not let Fang Xiaoxue be killed. When he arrived at school, Li Fan was still frowning. How am I supposed to solve this crisis? Is this cycle of reincarnation really going to be an eternal nightmare for me? Damn it, every time this happens, I miss Lin Yuhin and the others. Unfortunately, they are not by my side at this moment, and they can't help me at all. Wait, Li Fan suddenly understood something. Who said? Lin Yuhin is not by my side. Although she didn't know him now, her mind was still as smart as before. As long as I can make her understand my current predicament, she will definitely be able to help me. Li Fan suddenly became excited. He waited for school to end at noon, then quickly ran to the empty classroom on the 5th floor. Lin Yuhin's family was very poor, and she had very few friends. So, every noon, she would take homemade pancakes and hide in the empty classroom to secretly eat them. This was something Lin Yuhin told me a long time later. Others did not know about this, but it was exclusive to Li Fan. Li Fan avoided Zhao Dong. He realized that this guy was in a bad mood, and seemed to want to vent on him. This was how it used to be. Every time Zhao Dong was unhappy, he would vent on Li Fan. Later, when Li Fan killed Wang Qiong, he did not even dare to fart. Originally, Bai Linluo was one of Li Fan's targets, but on that day, Bai Linluo was homesick, so Lin Yuhin was his only choice. After Li Fan avoided Zhao Dong, he quietly went upstairs from the other side of the building. There were many empty classrooms on the 5th floor, and they were self-study rooms. The key to one of the classrooms was in Lin Yuhin's hands. The teacher had specially given it to her, so she could study here at noon. As the top student in the grade, Lin Yuhin always had some special treatment in school. Lin Yuhin. Li Fan was a little anxious, and he pushed open the door to the self-study room. The little girl was eating a pancake when someone suddenly pushed the door open. She was startled and the pancake in her hand fell to the ground. Ah, sorry. Li Fan laughed dryly. This was a bit unexpected. He was too anxious, and he had ruined Lin Yuhin's lunch. Don't be angry, I'll make you 2 pancakes later. Who are you? What do you want? Lin Yuxian looked at Li Fan warily and put her hand in her pocket. If you dare to come any closer, I'll call the teacher. Stop fooling around, you don't even have a phone. Li Fan's words made Lin Yuhin even more nervous. How did he know I don't have a phone? Did he investigate me? Who is this student? Lin Yuhin, don't misunderstand, I'm not a bad person. Li Fan saw the alertness in Lin Yuhin's eyes, and he quickly explained, even though we don't know each other, our mothers are business partners. We're friends who work together, he tried to explain, but Lin Yuhin did not let down her guard. Lin Yuhin, I really don't mean any harm. What do I have to do to make you believe me? Li Fan did not have much time to explain, so he decided to cut the Gordian knot. Student, you suddenly barged into this classroom with that fierce look on your face. How do you expect me to believe you? Hey, are you hurt? How am I fierce? Li Fan pointed at his face. I'm obviously kind and amiable, okay? What are you trying to do? Lin Yuhin was still suspicious of Li Fan. As the young girl spoke, she quietly moved toward the back door of the classroom. She only moved a little at a time to make sure that Li Fan couldn't see through her speed. She prepared to escape. Okay, I'll tell you the truth. Li Fan stretched out his hands to show his surrender. I actually came back from the future. We're friends in the future, that's why I know you so well. Chunibya. There are 2 moles on the left side of your lower abdomen. You actually hate eating pancakes at home because you like to eat spicy food. Your birthday is on Christmas, but you never celebrate your birthday because it's a waste of money. You don't like to make friends because making friends also costs money. You have to give each other gifts and celebrate various holidays with each other. In addition, your dream is to become a psychiatrist. Because your father has a history of mental illness, he's still locked up in a mental hospital, so you want to cure him as soon as possible. In addition, you've self-taught the first 2 years of psychology courses in university. The person you admire the most is Freud, and your favorite book is his analysis of dreams. You're a pervert. Lin Yuhin looked at Li Fan with a somewhat horrified expression. Hey, this is what the future you told me. Li Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Does Lin Yuhin think of me as a stalker? Okay, I believe you. Lin Yuhin suddenly sat down on the seat next to her and looked at Li Fan very seriously. I told you, WTF. You believe me? Li Fan also didn't expect that Lin Yuhin would be so easy to convince. He already had all kinds of plans in his mind on how to convince this almost demonic girl, because you did tell me a few secrets that others don't know. Lin Yuhin crossed her arms and looked at Li Fan. How many years later did you come back from? 2 years. 3 years. What? How did you know? At most 3 years. She can even guess this. More or less. Why did you come back to the present to find me? What kind of crisis do I need to help you solve? Do you want me to help you figure out how to leave this time-space and return to your original timeline? My God. Are you really not a monster? The Lin Yuhin from a few years ago was still frighteningly smart. Li Fan said that to be liked by such a smart girl, it's like a blessing from his ancestor's grave. How did you figure it out? Li Fan didn't understand and wanted to ask. It's very simple. Lin Yuhin said, first of all, you told me a secret. This secret, from the beginning until now, I planned to only tell my future half. So, you're either my boyfriend or the person I like. But from your age, you should be older than me by 2 or 3 years. I'm not a Big Uncle fan or a Shota fan, so it means that we're the same age. So, your age determines the time you come back. It's that simple. Chapter 1584. Lin Yuhin's judgment was almost spot on. She relied on her own intelligence, as well as her absolute trust and control of her own character. Even if this woman had the slightest bit of doubt towards him, she would not be so resolute and decisive. Why is my eyesight so bad? Lin Yuhin curled her lips. To actually find such a fellow. Li Fan was speechless. This lass was simply too much. She actually started to criticize him, and she even had a look of dissatisfaction. Not waiting for Li Fan to finish his explanation, a shout came from outside. Lin Yuhin? My Xiao Xianxian? Where did you go? Lin Yuhin's face turned pale. She immediately said to Li Fan, if you are really the person I like, then help me get rid of him. The owner of this voice was not someone else. Li Fan remembered it very clearly. Hua De Hong, the son of second high school's principal. Like a fly, he pestered Lin Yuhin to the point that he thought that Lin Yuhin was his exclusive property. Now that he had returned to his first year of high school, Hua Dehong had yet to meet his martial arts self. He was still in the stage of pursuing Lin Yuhin. Li Fan nodded his head and walked to the corridor and shouted, "Hua Dehong, scram! Lin Yuhin is mine. Fuck your mother. I think you are tired of living." When Hua Dehong heard Li Fan's provocation, he flew into a rage. In this school, he was known as the Little Tyrant. He was used to being domineering in school. Ever since he said that he liked Lin Yuhin, who would dare to have any thoughts towards Lin Yuhin? This skinny monkey in front of him actually dared to tease his woman. "I, your father, will beat him until he doesn't dare to come to school. Second high school is the Little Tyrant Hua Dehong's, world." Hua Dehong rushed in front of Li Fan in a few steps. He had practiced some Japanese kung fu before. He directly aimed at Li Fan's chest and kicked out fiercely. Although Li Fan's body was thin and weak, he had many years of combat experience with him. In his eyes, Hua Dehong's kick was much slower. He moved to the side and avoided Hua Dehong's kick. Then, he stretched out his hands, grabbed Hua Dehong's calf, and pulled him back. Catcher! Hua Dehong was dragged and had to do a big split. His pelvis almost cracked, and he screamed in pain. However, Li Fan's knee flew up and directly hit Hua Dehong's face, causing Hua Dehong to faint. Done. Li Fan kicked open the door of the self-study room next to him. These classrooms had been in disrepair for a long time, and the doors had long been tattered. Li Fan tossed Hua Dehong in, then dusted his hands and returned to Lin Yuhin's classroom. As for Lin Yuhin, she stood in front of the window and secretly watched the whole process. "I've completed your task. Now, isn't it your turn to help me? What will happen to him in the future?" Lin Yuhin pointed to the classroom next door and asked. "I broke his leg, and his father lost his job because of me. Second high school was completely reformed and became a good school with students as the main focus." Li Fan gave a brief explanation. "You should have practiced kung fu." Looking at Li Fan, who was slightly out of breath, Lin Yuhin continued to make a judgment, "But after returning to the past, your body is not used to it. So even a little movement will consume a lot of your strength." "Yeah, my Avildor Lin, don't analyze me. Let's talk about business." Li Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Okay, tell me about your matter first. I'll see if I can understand." There was an hour and a half for lunch break. Moreover, even if Lin Yuhin didn't go to class, the teacher wouldn't care about her. Which teacher in the school didn't know that Lin Yuhin had already finished studying all the high school courses? Her learning efficiency in the self-study classroom is often higher than in the classroom. As for Li Fan, he reincarnated for an unlimited amount of time in this day. Therefore, it doesn't matter if he goes to class or not. As long as Fang Xiaoxue is alive, it's more important than anything else. Li Fan looked at the young lady in front of him who had a face full of wisdom. He told her about his challenge to Azure Dragon Pagoda, as well as the treasure mirror that can turn back time. "Tell me about your past few reincarnations." Lin Yuhin took out a pen and seemed to be writing something on the paper. She drew lines one after another as if she wanted to prove something. After Li Fan finished talking about his past few reincarnations, Lin Yuhin thought hard for a while. The young lady propped her head on her chin. Occasionally, she would write a few strokes and occasionally look out the window. "How about this?" Lin Yuhin made a request to Li Fan. "You go through another 10 days of reincarnation. In these 10 days, you have to go through different routes. I won't stop you from choosing the route. After 10 times, you can find me again. According to today's order, talk to me again. Then, tell me your records for the past few days." "Another 10 times? Yes." Lin Yuhin nodded her head. "As long as it's 10 times, I will be able to prove my theory." "Can't you say it now?" "No." Lin Yuhin shook her head and emphasized, "Any theory needs to be proven through practice. According to the theory of relativity, if your time here is constantly reincarnating, then your time outside should be constant. So, don't be afraid of wasting time. Go and prove my theory." Li Fan believed in Lin Yuhin. Since she requested it like this, he could only obediently do as she said. Then, Li Fan went through another 10 days of reincarnation. Every morning, he would wake up and touch the mirror. Then, he would eat a nutritious breakfast on Monday. Then, he would meet Fang Xiaoxue. He would drag her to play video games, go shopping, or even secretly watch a movie. It didn't matter if he couldn't afford the movie tickets. Li Fan relied on his little tricks to sneak into the movie theater. For a whole 10 days, Li Fan seemed to be on a date with Fang Xiaoxue. It was just that the method of each date was different. But no matter what, Fang Xiaoxue seemed to be quite happy. In the future, you can play, but you're not allowed to skip class anymore. The last time, Fang Xiaoxue was still the same as usual. Her face was flushed as she reminded Li Fan, "Otherwise, I won't accompany you anymore." After Li Fan told Lin Yuhin about his 10 experiences, the little girl sat in front of the table and looked at Li Fan with a strange expression. "What's wrong with you? Are you doubting me?" "No, I'm doubting my own judgment." Lin Yuhin muttered, "It seems like you really like this Fang Xiaoxue. Why would I like a playboy like you? If you're really the one I like, why don't you accompany me every day?" Lin Yuhin's straightforward words made Li Fan ashamed. "Chen-ph, I don't really want to help you. You can go find me next time and see if she's in the mood." "Don't, Ancestor Lin, please help me. I can't help you." Lin Yuhin suddenly dropped such a sentence, which made Li Fan feel like he was struck by lightning. Had all his hard work over the past few days been for naught? Chapter 1585. Even with your wisdom, you can't think of a way? Li Fan hurriedly asked. Lin Yuhin was his only hope. As for Bai Lin Luo, how would he know where that brat lives? Even if he wanted to find him, it would be too much effort. "I have a way, but you can't do it." Lin Yuhin shrugged her shoulders. "Isn't wisdom able to solve everything? If that's the case, why would I need to hide from Hua Dehong?" Lin Yuhin bitterly smiled. "Wisdom can change the future, but it can't change the past. Wisdom can change life, but it can't change the human heart. Ancestor, let's not talk in riddles, okay? Fine, then I'll tell you the truth." Lin Yuhin pointed at the homework paper on her desk. Li Fan took a look. On the paper, there were 3 words, Fang Xiaoxue. "What do you mean? You can't be jealous, right?" "Jealous, my ass. I mean, she's the core of this matter." Lin Yuhin lightly tapped on this name. "Don't tell me you still haven't realized. After so many reincarnations, everything else has changed, but what is the only thing that hasn't changed?" Li Fan was not an idiot. When Lin Yuhin said that, he naturally understood. In this process, the only thing that hasn't changed is that Li Fan has continuously saved Fang Xiaoxue. You saved Fang Xiaoxue time and time again. Time and time again, you allowed her to survive from the original timeline. Li Fan, you've said it before. When you saw Fang Xiaoxue alive, you were surprised and missed her. So, her survival has completely changed this timeline, and if I'm not wrong, you feel that this reincarnation is trapping you, but in fact, reincarnation is saving you. What do you mean? Li Fan faintly felt fear. The reincarnation phenomenon is indeed caused by the mirror. It wasn't actually protecting you, it was protecting itself. The power of the Azure Dragon Pagoda should be to forcefully send you back to the past, allowing you to restart your timeline. The amazing thing about the Azure Dragon Pagoda was that in this timeline, you would experience something that you wanted to change the most. If this matter were to change, then in the future, you might lose all of your power. Perhaps, you might even cease to exist. Both are possible. Lin Yuhin's argument was shocking. In this timeline, the mirror is by your side. If you cease to exist, it is very likely that the mirror will disappear along with you. Therefore, in order to ensure its own existence, it has to constantly modify your timeline, sending you back to the past time and time again so that you can repair your own timeline. In other words, you will have to experience Fang Xiaoxue's death again. Lin Yuhin's words were like a bell, ringing in Li Fan's ears, causing his body to tremble and his ears to ring. He felt like he couldn't hear what happened next. You can't attack, and you can't dodge. In these reincarnations, he constantly saved Fang Xiaoxue and then went to do something else. Until one reincarnation, Li Fan took Fang Xiaoxue's hand and came to the front of the broadcast tower. I can't get in, Fang Xiaoxue pulled Li Fan. The girl who was usually cheerful and generous was a little timid in this place. After all, there were 2 soldiers standing guard at the door. They were armed with guns and looked very imposing. It's okay, I'm here, Li Fan said as he walked to the side of an SUV and then picked up a work permit from under the car. In Fang Xiaoxue's surprised eyes, Li Fan carefully cut the plastic seal of the work permit, then put his 1-inch photo inside, and then used glue to stick the plastic seal. This technique was very experienced. There was no trace of fraud. How did you do it? Fang Xiaoxue looked at Li Fan, stunned. My sixth sense told me. Li Fan gave Fang Xiaoxue a mysterious smile, then took off his school uniform, took out a set of sportswear from his backpack, and put it on. He brought Fang Xiaoxue and confidently walked past the sentry post. The staff of the broadcast tower often brought guests in. Li Fan had observed for a long time. There was no problem. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.